Chapter 536. After saying that, Lu Shang ignored Wang Zhong and went straight in to find Su Xiaolan. The two of them seemed to be on good terms now. There were a few servants following behind Lu Shang. Under Lu Shang's instructions, the servants started to help pack up. After a busy day, Wang Zhong took the people in the shop out for a meal. This was originally agreed upon. Today was a celebration for the opening of the shop. Apart from the few people in the shop, Wang Zhong also invited Lu Niuqing. After all, this shop was mainly opened by Lu Niuqing. Apart from that, there were also some business partners, as well as some reputable people nearby. These people were all helpful in business, so Wang Zhong naturally had to make friends with them. When they went out, Su Xiaolan and Zhou Chui went to the back to change clothes. Wang Zhong stared at Lu Shang and said, "Miss Lu, we're going to eat. Where are you going later?" This meant that he wasn't taking Lu Shang to eat with him. This made Lu Shang falter. She didn't expect Wang Zhong to say this. If he said this, normal people would definitely turn around and leave. However, Lu Shang wasn't that kind of person. She wouldn't leave. "Humph, I already agreed with Xiaolan. It's none of your business," Lu Shang said disdainfully. "Oh, is that so? Then let's go. Young Master Lu Niuqing is going anyway." Wang Zhong's tone was like he was giving alms, and Lu Shang was furious. "Su-san, do you have something against me?" "Something against me? Miss Lu, it's you who has something against me, right? At that time, you deliberately didn't rent the shop to me. It belongs to us commoners. You were purposely making things difficult for me." Lu Shang realized that she was really in the wrong. She could only say angrily, "I was purposely joking with you. Who told you to be like this before?" "I was like this before?" Wang Zhong thought about it, and remembered that Lu Shang had invited him out back then. He came to a sudden realization. "I see. I really didn't like coming out back then. I wasn't joking with you. I didn't expect you to remember something so far away. You really are." Wang Zhong shook his head speechlessly. Lu Shang felt very embarrassed, because this made her seem a little petty. Wang Zhong chuckled. "Actually, I was just joking with you. Your brother and I have already asked you to come over for dinner." "Really?" Lu Shang's eyes lit up, but then she became a little angry. Did this mean that this guy was deliberately playing with her? What was even more infuriating was that her younger brother did not call her. No matter what, Lu Shang wasn't that angry now that things were out in the open. However, she still had to maintain her face. She snorted coldly and ignored Wang Zhong. She wanted to let Wang Zhong know how powerful she was when she ignored him. Su Xiaolan came out at this moment, and the group went to the restaurant. Tonight's banquet was very successful. Many people came to show their support. On one hand, Wang Zhong's prestige was very high. Everyone knew that it was Wang Zhong who solved the water shortage problem. In terms of prestige, Wang Zhong could be considered the #1 person under the city lord. It was foreseeable that by relying on the wells and canals of every household, the yield of crops in the future would definitely increase year after year. On the other hand, it was because of Wang Zhong's current identity, city protector. That was a person who was directly responsible to the city lord. As the saying goes, the mountain is high and the emperor is far away. In this place, sometimes even the emperor's words were not as important as the city lord's. Thus, as the city protector, one could imagine how powerful this position was. In the following time, Wang Zhong continued to deal with the matters of the rice shop. First, there were multiple supply channels. Thanks to the connections and reputation he had left in the various villages, everyone liked to give him rice now. Wang Zhong was also not a black-hearted merchant. He bought rice according to the market price. Next, there were the distribution channels. Apart from selling rice in the shop, Wang Zhong also opened up the wholesale channels. Because he had a large quantity, he could sell it to his peers at a cheaper price. This way, although he earned less, at least he did not have to store a lot of rice. After all, those who sold rice knew that it could not be stored for too long. Otherwise, it would become stale. Once the taste changed, it could not be sold for a good price. A month later, Lu Bai returned. What was surprising was that the first thing he did when he returned was to find Wang Zhong. "Ha ha ha, Su-san, you are really a talent. After Wang Zhong was brought into the city lord's mansion, Lu Bai laughed and praised Wang Zhong. City lord you? Wang Zhong was a little confused. He did not know what good thing Lu Bai encountered. Susan, your method of digging the canal is very good. I went to the neighboring city. After the city lord heard my plan, he also decided to do the same. Now the news has spread to the imperial capital. The emperor has issued an edict saying that you have done a great service for the people and have made a great contribution. You are now the deputy city lord. Deputy city lord. Wang Zhong was stunned, but soon he frowned. Wang Zhong was not a fool. Lu Bai was already so old, but he still did not abdicate. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that he wanted to pass the position to his son. Now that he was the deputy city lord, wouldn't he be competing with his son? Wang Zhong did not know what the emperor meant, but if he was the emperor, he would naturally find someone who was supported by the people to compete with Lu Bai when he could not directly abdicate Lu Bai. On the surface, this was a reward for him, but in reality, it was to let him compete for the position of city lord. After all, Lu Bai was old. As long as Lu Bai fell, he would naturally become the city lord. City lord, I am just a poor commoner. How can I be the deputy city lord? Let's forget about this. Wang Zhong was not afraid, but he was worried about Su Xiaolan. The position of city lord was one of the three evils. It could easily bring bad luck to his family. Of course, he would directly reject it. Lu Bai was even more satisfied with Wang Zhong. When he first heard of the emperor's reward, he also wanted to kill Wang Zhong. No matter how grateful he was to Wang Zhong, he would not let Wang Zhong take his position. But when he returned, he thought of his daughter. Didn't his daughter want to be close to Su San? In his opinion, Su San rejected his daughter completely because of his inferiority complex. No matter how smart he was still a poor farmer. What right did he have to marry his daughter? Thus he felt inferior. When his daughter extended an olive branch, Su San felt inferior and rejected it. It could also be said that he was smart because he knew when to advance and when to retreat. If he really dared to accept his daughter back then, he would definitely find a way to suppress him and teach him a lesson. But now, Wang Zhong was made the deputy city lord. He was no longer a poor farmer. If his daughter followed him, not only would the Lu family not exploit her, but they would also become stronger. Think about it. If Su San supported his son to become the deputy city lord, with Su San's current prestige, who would say no? Even if there were, there would not be many. Thus, after thinking this through, not only did Lu Bai not want to kill Wang Zhong, he was also very happy. At least, he felt that his current relationship with Wang Zhong was quite good. Of course, the plan now was to let his daughter marry Su San. He felt that there was no time to waste on a good thing. In the meantime, he talked about the matchmaking. Su San, you are too humble. I feel that it is not bad for you to be the deputy city lord. You have the ability, I think highly of you. Wang Zhong was stunned. Lu Bai actually agreed. Wasn't this agreeing to snatch his power? He did not understand Lu Bai's actions. City lord, I really can't. Wang Zhong still refused. Su San, if you continue to refuse, you will be disobeying the emperor's decree. Can you bear the consequences? Lu Bai shouted sternly. Fine, I can't run anymore. Lu Bai then said earnestly. Don't worry, the deputy city lord position is not that stressful. I will teach you well. Alright, let's not talk about this. I heard that you opened a rice shop? That's right. You don't have to worry about these small matters. If you have time, spend more time with Lu Shang. This child usually doesn't accept anyone, but behind his back, he admires you the most. Lu Bai was very confident. With his daughter's beauty and charm, who knew how many young talents pursued her, he did not believe that Wang Zhong could refuse Lu Shang. Now that he had already hinted, with Wang Zhong's intelligence, he believed that Wang Zhong would understand his meaning. Indeed, Wang Zhong had understood what he had said. Perilous waves surged within his heart. As expected, no matter what an outstanding person did, they could not hide the light of gold. Wasn't the city lord's intention to let him pursue Lu Shang? Sigh, what should he do? To be honest, he also quite admired Lu Shang. She had a straightforward personality and did not drag things out. The only flaw was that she had a bad temper and wanted to save face. However, his main goal in this life was Su Xiaolan. But it was not good to directly refuse now, so he could only play dumb. Miss Lu is very talented. I also admire her. Haha, that's good. If you have time, spend more time with her. Although this child has a bad temper, she is still quite reasonable. If there is anything wrong with her, tell me. I understand, City Lord. Then, they chatted about some matters in the city before Wang Zhong left. Lu Bai did not stop to rest and found his daughter Lu Shang. Lu Shang had been at her in these few days. The roasted fish shop's business was good, and she was preparing to open another one. At the same time, she was thinking about how to get the goods from Wang Zhong in the future. Although she said that she did not have a good expression every time she saw Wang Zhong, she was actually stubborn and soft-hearted. This guy will definitely be polite when he sees me going to get the goods, right? Lu Shang was already imagining the scene of Wang Zhong being polite to her. At that time, she would definitely make him serve her tea to relieve her anger. Good daughter, what are you doing? Lu Bai walked in from the door. Father, you're here. Lu Shang held Lu Bai's hand and said sweetly, Father, have you eaten? I'll get the servants to prepare a pot of roasted fish for you. Haha, okay. Lu Shang ordered the servants to prepare the roasted fish, then accompanied Lu Bai into the private room. After the servant left, Lu Bai began to speak about Wang Zhong in a meaningful and heartfelt manner. Good daughter, the roasted fish business is doing well. It's all thanks to Susan. I also contributed. Child, if it wasn't for his roasted fish, the business wouldn't be so good, right? Lu Shang actually understood, but she was unwilling to admit it. Lu Bai continued, This Susan is really popular now. Do you know that Moneybags Huang has 2 daughters? I heard that Moneybags Huang asked 2 matchmakers to marry his 2 daughters to Susan. Chapter 537. Doesn't that mean Moneybag Huang wants his youngest daughter to be a concubine? Lu Shang was shocked. Usually, those who wanted their daughters to be concubines were poor people who didn't have a good life. However, Moneybag Huang was a famous tycoon in the city. His 2 daughters were also beautiful. It was hard for her to imagine that Moneybag Huang would be so daring to give his 2 daughters to Susan. My dear daughter, you don't understand, do you? Susan's prestige here can be said to have overshadowed your father's. This time, the emperor has issued an imperial edict. Because of Wang Zhong's meritorious service, he will be promoted to deputy city lord. In the future, Susan's future is really limitless. Moneybag Huang also has connections in the imperial court. He must have received some news. That's why he proposed to marry his 2 daughters to Susan. This old man is really bad. He must be sure that Susan will have a meteoric rise in the future. That's why he did this. Lu Shang was not stupid. She understood the power of the situation immediately. Daughter, I also know that you are interested in Susan. In terms of charm, Moneybag Huang doesn't even have 8 or 10 daughters, let alone 2. So you and Susan, I think it's not bad. Father, I'm not interested in him. Lu Shang pouted. She liked to be stubborn. You can lie to others, but you can't lie to me. Lu Shang. As the saying goes, a woman is afraid of marrying the wrong man. Similarly, if you miss this opportunity, it will be too late. You don't want to regret it for the rest of your life, right? So sometimes you have to put down your airs as a young lady. Her father's words shocked Lu Shang. Yes, if Wang Zhong really married Moneybag Huang's 2 daughters, how would she feel? She would probably be very disappointed, right? Compared to this, losing face sometimes didn't seem to be much. My dear daughter, you are also a smart person. If you and Susan are together, it will also help your useless brother. Let's put it this way. If Susan is the son-in-law of the Lu family, then everything will be fine. If not, then I will have to get rid of him. Lu Shang was shocked. She had already understood the pros and cons of this matter. She also knew how important Wang Zhong was to the Lu family now. I understand. Okay. When the grilled fish was served, Lu Shang accompanied his father to eat some before leaving. She went to Wang Zhong's rice shop to have a chat. Miss Lu, you're here. Su Xiaolan happily welcomed LV Shang when she saw him. Business seems to be doing well. I'm here to take a look and discuss something. What is it? Mayan needs a lot of rice every day. I'm going to take all the rice from you in the future. That's great, but I don't know much about these things, so Su San is usually in charge. Su Xiaolan apologized. Where is he? Oh, just in time. Wang Zhong entered the house, covered in dust. Last night, he had been cultivating at the spirit spring, and his strength had improved a lot. Moreover, as his strength increased, he found that the effect of the water under the spirit spring was even better. He was certain that there was a secret underneath. However, he didn't make a move for the time being. After all, he wasn't strong enough yet. Just in case, he arranged a lot of rats to guard the spirit spring. He had already made up his mind that he would not let anyone or anything touch that place. Miss Lu, what brings you here? Wang Zhong asked as he entered the house. Susan, Miss Lu said that she wants to buy our rice, Su Xiaolan said with joy. LV Shang still couldn't get rid of her arrogant habit. She held her head high, completely forgetting what her father said earlier. She wanted to see the scene of Wang Zhong kneeling down and licking her boots. Unfortunately, she was disappointed again. Oh, Wang Zhong nodded. His words were concise, and his tone was full of indifference. Oh, so he said oh. He didn't even say thank you. LV Shang was furious. She found that all her schemes were useless in front of Wang Zhong. Do you have time? Let's talk about the specifics. LV Shang could only say. All right, come to my office. What's an office? LV Shang was curious. Su Xiaolan said. Susan said it's a place for receiving guests. Then it's a guest room. Why call it an office? LV Shang felt strange. After entering the house, Wang Zhong was tidying up some ledgers. Susan, I'm preparing to open another tavern. Is that so? And are you interested? No. Wang Zhong really wasn't interested. Now he had to deal with the rice and become the deputy city lord. It was really tiring. The main thing was that Su Xiaolan still didn't know much about this place, so he had to worry about everything. LV Shang choked. She originally thought that Wang Zhong wanted to participate. After all, who didn't want to earn money? Ahem, actually if you want you can. After all, you invented the grilled fish. Wang Zhong looked at LV Shang in surprise. He didn't expect this girl to be so proactive. After thinking about it, he understood. Lu Bai must have said something to her. He knew Lu Bai's personality well. If there were no benefits, he would be very nice to you. However, once the family's interests were involved, he wouldn't be so easy to get along with. LV Shang's attitude had obviously softened. Seeing her like this, Wang Zhong didn't have a need to refuse. After all, who would refuse a gift delivered to their door? Those who refused would be idiots, right? All right then, I accept. Wang Zhong nodded. But I have a condition. A condition? LV Shang was very angry. She was giving him a chance to earn money, but he actually had a condition. However, in the next moment, LV Shang was stunned. Wang Zhong moved closer. LV Shang panicked. What was he going to do? What was he going to do? You have to treat me to a meal. Wang Zhong moved closer to LV Shang and said this. Just this. LV Shang rolled her eyes at Wang Zhong. Just as she was about to agree, she immediately rejected it in her heart. How could this be? She was helping him get rich, but he said that he would only agree if she treated him to a meal. Was she the one begging him to cooperate? You should be the one treating me. LV Shang couldn't help but say. Haha, I'm just joking with you. Wang Zhong couldn't help but laugh. Before LV Shang could react, he tapped her nose. You're quite cute. This was called using both the carrot and the stick. Lu Shang was a tsundere girl. Although being forceful could make Lu Shang let go of her pride, it would also make her unhappy. Thus, by being gentle, it would make the other party happy. That way, it would be logical to do whatever position they wanted. You're so annoying. You actually tapped my nose, LV Shang said angrily. LV Shang's appearance was really flirtatious. Wang Zhong took advantage of the situation and pulled LV Shang over to sit on his lap. Then I have something even more annoying. What are you doing? Let go of me. LV Shang was bashful. Although she had a good impression of Wang Zhong, she was still reserved. How could a girl be so casual? Wang Zhong saw through LV Shang's thoughts. This girl was obviously the type who said no. But in her heart, she was saying hurry up. Therefore, in the face of LV Shang's rejection, Wang Zhong chuckled in his heart. She had delivered herself to his door. How could he give up now? In any case, he had already decided to accept LV Shang. Accepting her now was the same as accepting her in the future. LV Shang had already drawn out his fire. Thus Wang Zhong directly flipped Aya. In the evening, Wang Zhong, LV Shang, and Su Xiaolan ate together. After giving her body to Wang Zhong, LV Shang was still very angry. She thought that she was forced and completely forgot that she also knew a little martial arts. At that time, she didn't use any strength to reject him at all. Instead, she hoped that Wang Zhong would be more intense. This could be considered a classic example of self-deception. The three of them ate grilled fish. LV Shang picked up some fish for Su Xiaolan and said, "Xiaolan, eat more. Look at how thin you've been recently." "Thank you, Miss LV. Look at how distant you are. Just call me Little Shang from now on." "Oh, big sister Little Shang." LV Shang smiled, then rolled her eyes at Wang Zhong and snorted. "From now on, we'll call each other sisters. If anyone bullies you, you have to tell me, especially this Su-san." After saying that, LV Shang looked at Wang Zhong arrogantly again, completely forgetting how she had begged for mercy before. This woman was asking for it. Wang Zhong was speechless. LV Shang liked to pick on him from time to time. This temper of hers needed to be taught a lesson. In the end, Su Xiaolan's temper was good. She was gentle, kind, and shy. "Big sister Little Shang, Su-san is actually quite nice. He won't bully me," Su Xiaolan said. "That's good. Come and eat." After the three of them ate, Wang Zhong and Su Xiaolan returned home. Wang Zhong washed up and went to bed. When Su Xiaolan returned to her room, Zhou Chui called out to her, "Daughter, mother, why aren't you asleep yet?" Su Xiaolan walked into Zhou Chui's room and found that her mother was still awake. There was a faint light in the room. "Mother has something on her mind and wants to talk to you." "Oh." Su Xiaolan sat down embarrassed. "You went to eat with Su-san tonight?" "Yes, and Miss LV Shang." Su Xiaolan nodded in response. She was a bit curious, not knowing why her mother was talking about this. Zhou Chui said, "Looks like LV Shang treats Su-san quite well." "Mother, do you have something to say?" Su Xiaolan felt that her mother was acting strange tonight. "Sai Xiaolan, you and Su-san haven't made any progress yet. Mother is worried for you." Zhou Chui felt helpless. Su Xiaolan was too young, so she hadn't noticed anything. However, she had noticed that something was wrong when Su Xiaolan came over today. The two of them had been in Wang Zhong's parlor for so long. When they came out, she sharply noticed that LV Shang's walking posture was a bit awkward. She was also experienced, so she immediately guessed that the two of them must have done something they shouldn't have. Thus she was worried. If Su-san really got together with LV Shang, then with the LV family's power, how could her daughter win against LV Shang? "Mother, why are you bringing this up again?" Su Xiaolan was a bit embarrassed. "Mother will help you talk to them tomorrow. You two can get married soon." "Ah, no. Su Xiaolan hurriedly shook her head. How could this be? Although she also had a good impression of Wang Zhong. After all, they had grown up together. Although Wang Zhong's original body was a rat, she had long since regarded Wang Zhong as a close friend. However, marriage and whatnot seemed too far away. In reality, what the two of them didn't know was that Wang Zhong, who was in the room next door, had heard everything. Chapter 538. You child, you're still so reserved at a time like this. Let me tell you, you won't get another chance like this. Do you know that? Zhou Chui tried her best to persuade her. Her family was actually not very well off, and her achievements today were all thanks to Wang Zhong. She really didn't dare to imagine what would happen if Wang Zhong and Lu Shang really got married, and Wang Zhong ignored them in the future. Would their family return to the poor days of the past? Sometimes, she would also think that if that was really the case, even if it meant letting her daughter take the initiative, she would still take down Wang Zhong as soon as possible. As a rat spirit, Wang Zhong's hearing was extremely sensitive. Even if he didn't want to, he couldn't help but hear everything. After hearing this, he felt helpless. He could understand Zhou Chui's good intentions, and he wouldn't say anything about it. He couldn't help but think of the future. In this life, his mission was to take good care of Su Xiaolan. If Su Xiaolan married someone else, what if the person who married her didn't treat her well? These were all problems. So after thinking about it, Wang Zhong decided to marry Su Xiaolan. In any case, Zhou Chui would definitely agree. The reason why Su Xiaolan was hesitant was also because she was introverted. If he took the initiative, taking her down would be as easy as spitting phlegm. It's decided then. The next day, Zhou Chui sent Su Xiaolan away, and seemingly intentionally asked Wang Zhong what he thought of Su Xiaolan. Of course Xiaolan is extremely good. I felt that she was a good daughter the moment I saw her, Wang Zhong said solemnly. Wang Zhong's words made Zhou Chui happy. Right? Xiaolan also says that she likes you behind your back. Wang Zhong smiled, thought for a moment, and took the initiative to say, Auntie Zhou, if possible, I want to marry Xiaolan. Zhou Chui was stunned, and she became excited. She nodded and said, Good, you two are very good, very compatible. Thank you, mother. Wang Zhong very cleverly began to change his words. Su Xiaolan never thought that she and Wang Zhong would succeed so quickly. That day, Wang Zhong and Zhou Chui herded Su Xiaolan into Wang Zhong's room. In Zhou Chui's words, it was to strike while the iron was hot. It was better to do good things as soon as possible to avoid any accidents. Su-san. Su Xiaolan lowered her head and blushed with embarrassment. Although she knew in her heart that Wang Zhong was a rat, she still felt a little embarrassed at this moment. Because in her heart, she no longer regarded Wang Zhong as a rat. My mother said that you want to marry me, Su Xiaolan said with her head lowered. Knowing that Su Xiaolan was embarrassed, Wang Zhong took the initiative to hold her hand. I like you. Su Xiaolan was extremely excited. I like you too, but can we really be together? I'm a human now. Really? Su Xiaolan's eyes lit up. Ever since she was a child, she had become accustomed to trusting Wang Zhong. Why would I lie to you? That's great. But I heard from my mother that you're also interested in Miss Lu Shang, right? In her heart, Su Xiaolan actually felt quite inferior when facing Lu Shang. She thought that with her lowly background, if Wang Zhong could choose, he would definitely choose Lu Shang. Why are you bringing her up? Let's do something happy. Something happy. Su Xiaolan had an innocent personality and didn't know what this meant at all. Thus she asked, But if I'm with you, will Miss Lu be fine? Wang Zhong was a little speechless. A child was still a child after all. Why were you bringing her up now? Do you like Miss Lu? She takes good care of me, so we're together. I'm afraid of hurting her. Then can I let you two sleep together at night? Wang Zhong asked on purpose, because he felt that Su Xiaolan didn't seem to understand anything. Thinking back, it made sense. Ever since he was young, he and Su Xiaolan were either farming or fetching water. She didn't play much either. She only knew that girls and boys had to live together when they grew up, but she didn't know the details at all. She was very innocent. Okay. If Miss Lu is willing, I think it's pretty good. Heavens, she really didn't know these things. Wang Zhong was speechless. Thus, he could only decide to be a good person and teach her all night. It was so hard to be a good person. Wang Zhong had originally thought that after confirming his relationship with Su Xiaolan, he would wait for these few days before announcing his marriage with Su Xiaolan. To Wang Zhong's surprise, the matchmaker sent by the Lu family came looking for him. This matchmaker was a famous matchmaker in the city. She was called Lady Broker. She specialized in matchmaking for high-ranking officials and VIPs. She had a glib tongue and knew how to conduct herself. She didn't say that she was sent by the Lu family. Instead, she came to say that she saw that Wang Zhong was young and talented, and she just happened to have a few girls under her command that were suitable for Wang Zhong. Thus, she took out Lu Shang's portrait. Miss Lu is such a beautiful woman. You really are a good match for young Master Su. Coincidentally, City Lord Lu also told me that she is very satisfied with you, he. Although Lady Broker didn't say it explicitly, her meaning was very clear. She was saying that she was sent by the Lu family as a matchmaker. The reason why she didn't say it explicitly was because the Lu family was the female family, after all. They still wanted to save face. If word got out that it was the Lu family who came looking for Su Xiaolan, where would Lu Shang put her face? One had to know that she was a proud person. Even if she liked someone, she was the type of person who would say no. Sigh, Lady Broker. I naturally have no problems with this marriage. It's just that. What's wrong? Lady Broker was very puzzled. If a normal person heard this news, they would probably be so excited that they would directly kneel down and kowtow to express their gratitude. This Su San, however, had a look of reluctance on his face. I'm willing, but Wang Zhong originally wanted to say that he already had a wife. If he wanted to be together with Lu Shang, then the two women had to be on equal footing. After all, he wanted to give Su Xiaolan a happy life in this life. It didn't seem appropriate for him to be a concubine. But what? How about this? I'll talk to Miss Lu. Wang Zhong felt that it wasn't appropriate to say it to an outsider. Only by personally explaining it to Lu Shang would she understand. He believed that Lu Shang would understand. Moreover, in this ancient era, having multiple wives and concubines was very normal. Sometimes, if a wife from a wealthy family didn't take in concubines for her husband, people would say that she wasn't virtuous. All right then, I'll introduce the two of you at noon. There's no need. I know where she is. After all, Wang Zhong already had a negative relationship with Lu Shang. Naturally, he knew Lu Shang very well. At noon, Wang Zhong went to the roasted fish shop. To his surprise, Lu Shang wasn't in the shop. After asking around, he found out that Miss Lu was still in his inn. Strange, she hasn't woken up yet? Wang Zhong arrived at the inn and saw Lu Shang's servant. Miss is still sleeping. She seems to be feeling unwell. Why don't young Master Su come another day? The servant replied. Ahem, actually, I know a little about medicine. You can tell Miss Lu that I can help see where she's feeling unwell. If he didn't explain his marriage to Su Xiaolan clearly, it would be very troublesome. Thus, Wang Zhong wanted to see Lu Shang as soon as possible. Is that so? The servant knew that Miss Lu was interested in Wang Zhong. So she gave Wang Zhong face and went to report to Miss Lu. After a while the servant came over. However, she didn't say it out loud. Instead, she secretly pulled Wang Zhong to the side. Young Master Su, Miss Lu said that you can go in if you know medicine. This was Lu Shang giving him a way out. Wang Zhong was amused. He nodded and followed the servant in. After entering the room, the servant tactfully left. Wang Zhong glanced at Lu Shang, who was lying on the bed. This woman's face was rosy and didn't look like she was sick. Seeing this, Wang Zhong breathed a sigh of relief. As soon as Lu Shang saw Wang Zhong, she remembered what happened in Wang Zhong's office that day, and her pretty face became even redder. However, her attitude was still firm. She was fully convinced that she was forced that day. This B** starred as a beast. He caused me so much pain. Lu Shang thought to herself. Are you alright? Wang Zhong sat on the bed and asked. What are you doing? This is my room. Go sit on the stool, Lu Shang said firmly. Oh, she's quite stubborn. Wang Zhong still had to give face to someone who was sick, so he could only sit on the stool. My body hurts. I can't get out of bed, Lu Shang said. Where does it hurt? Lu Shang's expression changed. You ask too many questions. I'm not going to tell you. Wang Zhong frowned. This woman really had a wild temper. She was always glaring at people. He remembered that she was very gentle when he first met her. Sure enough, women were all good at pretending. I know medicine. I can take a look, Wang Zhong said patiently. No need. I'll be fine after some rest. Where exactly does it hurt? I'm not telling you. Seeing Lu Shang's hesitant look, Wang Zhong's heart skipped a beat. He understood where Lu Shang was hurting. Looks like I was too aggressive yesterday. Wang Zhong thought guiltily. However, who asked Lu Shang to give off such a strong sense of conquest? Alright then, have a good rest. I actually have something to tell you today. Wang Zhong nodded and said. What is it? Lu Shang asked. I'm going to marry Su Xiaolan. Lu Shang was stunned. In an instant, tears welled up in her eyes. She originally thought that since she had already done it with Wang Zhong would definitely happily come to propose marriage when the matchmaker came to find Wang Zhong. After all, they had already done it. However, she didn't expect that Su San would still marry Su Xiaolan. She felt that she had been deceived and fooled. She thought of death. She was no longer clean. She might as well die. Su San, you're not human. Lu Shang directly cried in front of Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong sighed in his heart. He guessed that Lu Shang would have this reaction, but he didn't expect her to cry so quickly. This made him unable to say the words he had prepared long ago. Don't cry yet. I'm not finished yet, Wang Zhong hurriedly said. What else is there to say, Su San? Anyway, you don't want me anymore. I'm no longer clean. I don't have the face to live in this world anymore. Before Lu Shang could finish, Wang Zhong hurriedly hugged Lu Shang. Little Shang, I also want you to marry me. What, that's impossible. Lu Shang turned pale with fright. Su San, this bastard, actually thought of taking a concubine before they were even married. Chapter 539. Su San, I'm telling you I won't agree. Lu Shang said without hesitation. She felt that her future husband could get married, but he had to marry her first. After she had children, he would consider taking concubines. After all, she was the daughter of the city lord, and was qualified to be the main wife. Although Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang were as close as sisters, this was a matter of status, as well as a matter of face for the Lu family. She couldn't compromise on this matter. She wanted Wang Zhong to know that she, Lu Shang, also had a temper. And a very bad temper. Wang Zhong had a headache and asked, why don't you agree? Is there a need to think about it? You can marry Xiaolan if you want, but you have to marry me first. Wang Zhong understood that Lu Shang wanted to fight for the position of the main wife. But Wang Zhong could never agree to this. He wanted to give Su Xiaolan a good life. If the main wife was given to Lu Shang, Su Xiaolan would definitely not say anything on the surface, but she would definitely feel uncomfortable in her heart. That won't do. Xiaolan and I met first. Wang Zhong found an excuse. But I helped you so much. My father is the city lord after all. Lu Shang's meaning was naturally that her Lu family was so big. If word got out that she was the concubine, what would outsiders think? Wang Zhong was a little helpless, and felt that he was in a dilemma. Little Shang, you have to suffer a little? Wang Zhong said without confidence. Lu Shang glared at him. In your dreams. Let me tell you, I'm not marrying you. You can marry whoever you want. Wang Zhong knew that Lu Shang was angry and wondered what to do. Wasn't it easy to solve these problems in the past? He even convinced her to sleep in the same bed several times. Suddenly, he had an idea. That's right. Why didn't I think of this idea? Suddenly, Wang Zhong came up with a plan. He felt that he was too smart. Little Shang, don't be angry. I'll check where it hurts first. What do you want to do? Lu Shang was vigilant. Unfortunately, Lu Shang's resistance was futile. In the afternoon, Wang Zhong told her his plan. The plan was simple, and that was to get married together. In this way, there would be no distinction between the first and the second, giving both of them enough face. What? You can even think of that? No way. Lu Shang was still insistent. If you can't even do that, then I can only punish you. With that said, Wang Zhong. In the end, Lu Shang could only beg for mercy. In fact, when Wang Zhong mentioned this plan, she had already reluctantly agreed. She was also a smart person. She knew that Wang Zhong had given her enough face. Sometimes, smart people knew to retreat in order to advance. After returning home, Wang Zhong found Su Xiaolan late at night and told her about this. Su Xiaolan's heart was filled with excitement when she found out that she was now on equal footing with Lu Shang. She didn't have any thoughts of being jealous. One could imagine how pure her heart was. Wang Zhong also told his mother-in-law, Zhou Chui, about this. What surprised Wang Zhong was that not only was Zhou Chui not angry, but she was also very much in agreement. It wasn't that Zhou Chui didn't have her own thoughts. The Lu family was the city lord, the #1 family in this area. If her son-in-law married City Lord Lu's daughter, her daughter would also be able to bask in the glory. This was great news. There was no reason for her not to be happy. The only thing that Wang Zhong was a little worried about was Lu Bai. He didn't know how Lu Bai would react when he found out that his daughter and Su Xiaolan were marrying on the same day. Early the next morning, Wang Zhong called the granny broker, and the two of them headed to the city lord's residence. In reality, Wang Zhong was very worried. That morning, Lu Shang had already told Lu Bai about getting married together. At first, Lu Bai also felt that it wasn't enough face. He felt that his daughter marrying a poor girl wasn't enough. However, Lu Shang persuaded him for a long time, saying that Wang Zhong and Su Xiaolan were childhood sweethearts. Moreover, Su San was now the deputy city lord, so she Lu Shang wasn't marrying down. After a long time, Lu Bai finally agreed. Thus, after Wang Zhong went over, his discussion with Lu Bai went very smoothly. In the end they settled on a date. 1 month later, the three of them officially got married. The wedding went very smoothly, and many guests came. Because Wang Zhong had previously said that he couldn't drink, no one urged him to drink, giving him a lot of face. After the wedding, the two women were led into the room by the servant girl. Xiaolan, are you nervous? As soon as Lu Shang entered the room, she sat down on the bed in exhaustion. There was nothing she could do. After Wang Zhong's ravaging, she found that even walking was awkward. It really was a mix of love and hate. What surprised Lu Shang was that Su Xiaolan didn't feel anything. This was mainly because Su Xiaolan had lived a hard life. This tiredness really didn't mean anything. Su Xiaolan expressed that she could fight 10, of course. This was a joke. Su Xiaolan shook her head slightly and said, I'm nervous, but I'm very happy to be able to become sisters with Sister Xiaolan. I can't sleep just thinking about it. Lu Shang's heart warmed. She originally thought that Su Xiaolan would be jealous, but now it seemed that she was overthinking. She couldn't help but hold Su Xiaolan's hand tightly and say, Xiaolan, I'll take good care of you in the future. Sister Xiaolan, we'll be family in the future. And, finally, Wang Zhong entered the room after greeting the guests. Seeing this scene, Wang Zhong couldn't help but sigh. He felt that today really was the peak of his life. He couldn't help but feel more confident about his future life. Nowadays, everyone had access to water. To an agricultural society, water was as important as land. One could imagine that given time, there would definitely be a great harvest on this day next year. Next, in order to increase the development of agriculture, Wang Zhong decided to implement a 3-step plan. First, change the farmers' outdated production methods. The specific implementation was to create new farming tools. Once the new tools were on the market, it would definitely double the farmers' production efficiency. Second, use feces to fatten up. It didn't necessarily have to be feces. After all, there was so much land, and feces might not be enough. Wang Zhong's method was to use the silt of the riverbed to fatten up the land. The more fertile the land, the better the crops would grow. Finally, eliminate pests. This modern society sprayed pesticides, but there were no pesticides here. So what could be done? There was no way to eliminate pests. Even modern society couldn't eliminate pests, let alone now. However, Wang Zhong's method was to eat. Pests were actually high in protein and easy to digest. Research showed that people with poor stomachs and stomachaches could improve their stomachs and prolong their lives if they ate pests over a long period of time. Since pests couldn't be eliminated, then people had to catch them. Wang Zhong decided to invent fried bug snacks in the future. Not only were they cheap, but they were also very delicious. This way, everyone would be motivated to catch pests. It could also be said that he had thought of a new source of food for everyone. Second, promote animal husbandry. In this era, animal husbandry was too backward. It wasn't that people didn't want to raise animals, but once animals like cows, sheep, chickens, and ducks fell sick, it was very difficult to deal with them. Fortunately, Wang Zhong used to be a veterinarian. He decided to teach some veterinary apprentices in the future. This way, the deaths of livestock would be reduced. Third, develop trade with the neighboring cities, and even the neighboring countries. They didn't have any local specialties, but in the future, they could sell farm tools, food, and all kinds of handicrafts to the outside world. As for handicrafts, Wang Zhong said that it would be done step by step, and the steps couldn't be too big. The most important thing now was to enter the bridal chamber. Lu Shang was obviously afraid now and chose to watch the battle. It was a sleepless night. In the following days, Wang Zhong officially took up the position of deputy mayor. As soon as he took up the position, he gathered the blacksmiths in the city and distributed the several agricultural blueprints he had drawn. Make farm tools according to the blueprints. Later, the mayor's office will buy them all. Make the samples first. After this matter was done, Wang Zhong went to the inn without stopping and began to experiment with fried bug snacks. It was currently spring, and green bugs were the most abundant in the ground. Although these bugs looked disgusting, they weren't poisonous. Instead, they were very nutritious. Wang Zhong also considered maggots, but he thought that maggots were in feces after all. What if some illegal vendors were unclean and sold maggots and caused an epidemic? Therefore, Wang Zhong only invented fried bug snacks. In order to make this snack not so disgusting, he even gave it a very considerate name, fried gold. Because after the bugs were fried, the outer skin would be golden, and this kind of snack would instantly look classy. After this was done, Wang Zhong took in a few children from poor families as his apprentices and taught them how to treat animals like cows, sheep, and pigs. In fact, animals were the same as humans. Sometimes they would catch a cold, and at that time, they would need to eat some herbs. The second most dangerous thing was dystocia. Wang Zhong did it personally and taught them how to deliver babies for the animals. After more than 3 months of work, Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang actually became pregnant at the same time. This was a joyous occasion, so Wang Zhong cooked delicious food for them almost every day. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. In the second year, Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang gave birth almost 1 month after the other. Su Xiaolan gave birth to a daughter, and Lu Shang gave birth to a son. This made Lu Bai very happy, and he held a big banquet to celebrate his daughter giving birth to a son. This year, although the rainfall didn't drop as much as usual, because everyone had well water, the fields still welcomed a great harvest. The farmers were all jubilant, and the cheers were all thanks to City Lord Su San. Now, Wang Zhong's prestige was like the sun in the sky, and everyone trusted him. It was also this year that Wang Zhong's farming tools were officially sold. Not only were these farming tools sturdy, but they were also very useful. The farming tools were officially sold. Useful farming tools naturally attracted the attention of people from other provinces. Wang Zhong didn't even go out to promote, but many merchants had already heard the news and rushed over, wanting to buy these farming tools. Of course, it wasn't that these merchants didn't think of producing their own. After all, there were no intellectual property rights in ancient times, and no one cared. However, if they wanted to produce, they needed a lot of craftsmen who understood the principles behind these farming tools. After that, it would take at least 3 years. After 3 years, it would be too late. This was why they came over to buy. In response, Wang Zhong could only increase the production of farming tools. In order to facilitate production, he opened the first factory, called the New Farming Tool Production Factory. After the factory was built, the efficiency here couldn't be compared to the small workshops outside. Chapter 540. Mi City was the city where Wang Zhong lived. In the past, it had only been a small city. However, with Wang Zhong's participation in the governance, the living standards of the nearby residents had improved. Furthermore, with the trade with the surrounding cities, Rice City had quickly become a medium-sized city from a small city. And all of this was accomplished in a short 5 years. Although Lu Bai was old but vigorous, he could feel that it was getting more and more difficult for him to do things. Therefore, he intended to pass the position of city lord to his son, Lu Nioqing. Wang Zhong didn't think much of it. This was because LV Nioqing was usually very submissive to him and listened to him the most. LV Nioqing was only a puppet when he became the city lord. Who did not know that the person who was truly governing Mi City was Wang Zhong? Husband, I'm sorry. With your ability, you're completely qualified for the position of city lord. Unfortunately, my father insisted on passing it to my brother. That night, Lu Shang said apologetically, "Little Shang, don't say that. I'm not interested in the position of city lord. Let Nyoching be it. However, if he dares to mess around in the future, I'll let him know what's good for him, Wang Zhong said calmly. Lu Shang sighed. How could she not want Wang Zhong to become the city lord? However, on one side was her family, and on the other side was her husband. Some things couldn't be done well. Alright, have you heard? Haiti is harassing us again. During this time, many refugees came to the city, Su Xiaolan, who was already lying in bed, said. Wang Zhong nodded. Haiti was a small country overseas. Because it was located on a small piece of land overseas, they called themselves Haiti country. Originally, no one cared about this small country. However, for some reason, this country had been harassing some villages and towns by the sea in recent years, causing the people to suffer. This year, the trouble was even bigger. A village rebelled against Haiti country and killed many of their soldiers. 3 days later, Haiti country's soldiers besieged the village and killed all the villagers. When the news spread, the nearby villages and towns were very scared. In order to avoid being harassed again, many people took their belongings and fled. This despicable Haiti country, I heard that they killed a lot of people. Lu Shang gnashed his teeth in anger. I heard that Sea City has increased their security. Sea City isn't too far from here, so we have to be careful. Wang Zhong pondered in his heart. In the past 5 years, after he had some money, he had vigorously developed firearms and cannons. However, there wasn't enough time, so there weren't many of them. If Haiti were to harass them at this time, it would be very troublesome. After all, the foundation of Mi City was not very thick. The city walls were too short. Moreover, there were villagers all around. If they really came to harass them, it would affect this year's crops. We can't let them succeed. Wang Zhong thought to himself. Husband, you've been so tired these days. Let me massage your shoulders. Seeing how tired Wang Zhong was, Su Xiaolan thoughtfully massaged his shoulders. Thank you, madam. Wang Zhong praised Su Xiaolan for her thoughtfulness. Let me massage your legs, Lu Shang said sensibly. There's no need. If madam is tired, you should rest early. We're not as tired as you. If we can use a bit of our tiredness to make it less tiring for you, then it's worth it, Lu Shang said. These words were too sweet. Yes, big sister Xiaolan is right, Su Xiaolan agreed. Wang Zhong felt a warmth in his heart. With a wife like this, what more could a husband ask for? Xiaolan, you just bought your underwear. Wang Zhong immediately noticed something. Yes, how is it? It's okay. I also bought one, Su Xiaolan said. Not bad, not bad. It's made of real silk, right? The three of them chatted. Wang Zhong sighed in his heart. If only his days were so peaceful every day. Hopefully, this King Haiti country wouldn't come looking for trouble. Otherwise, he would definitely teach them a lesson. The next day, Wang Zhong arrived at the city lord's residence. Lu Bai and his brother-in-law, Lu Nyoching, were already waiting for him. Brother-in-law. Lu Nyoching respected Wang Zhong very much in private, and called him brother-in-law. There are more and more refugees coming from Sea City. This is putting a lot of pressure on Mi City. There have been several cases of burglary. Now the people don't want outsiders to enter the city. Cough, cough, cough. Lu Bai coughed a few times inside. My original plan was to close the city, but there are so many people outside. It's impossible to do that. What I'm most worried about now is that Sea City can't hold on. If the people of Haiti country attack us, we'll be in trouble. Yes, the guards in our city are all for public security, so there aren't many of them. After all, we've never encountered a threat from overseas. This is troublesome. What should we do? Lu Nyoching said worriedly. He was the kind of person who didn't have the ability to make decisions. When faced with a problem, the first thing that came to his mind was not to solve it, but to ask, what should we do? Lu Bai was bold, but he was old and didn't do things as decisively as before. After hesitating for a moment, he said, how about I send troops to reinforce Sea City? Lu Bai's way of thinking made sense. Sea City was the closest to them. If Sea City was in trouble, Mi City would definitely be the next target. This was very troublesome. After Lu Bai finished speaking, he asked Wang Zhong, Susan, what do you think? For so many years, Lu Bai had seen Wang Zhong's management of Mi City from top to bottom. Therefore, he had a lot of trust in Wang Zhong. He felt that Wang Zhong definitely had good ideas. We don't have many soldiers in the city. If we send them to reinforce Sea City, there will be fewer guards in the city. Wang Zhong raised the key point. This was also what Lu Bai was worried about. But the Lord of Sea City has already sent people to help us. Lu Bai coughed again and continued. As the saying goes, if the lips are gone, the teeth will be cold. If they are in trouble, we will also suffer. Yes, I suggest that we go and reinforce them. Anyway, we will attack Mi City first. After Mi City, we don't have to worry about anything for the time being, Lu Nioqing said. No. Wang Zhong still shook his head. During this period, there will be many refugees in the city, causing chaos. We need a lot of people to deal with it. Otherwise, it won't be good if there is a big mess. Moreover, there are so many refugees. There might be people from Haiti country among them. What? There are people from Haiti country among the refugees? Hearing this, Lu Bai and his son were stunned. If I were the leader of Haiti country, I will definitely do so. After all, Mi City's wealth has long surpassed theirs. How much can we gain by robbing Sea City? But if we rob Mi City, the gains will be several times more. Then according to you, we are not going to help Sea City? Lu Bai asked. We will still help, but we will only provide some bows and other equipment. We will also immediately inform the imperial court to send reinforcements to Sea City. Wang Zhong analyzed. Okay, then we will do as Su San said. Lu Bai thought about it, and felt that Wang Zhong's words made sense. They did not have many soldiers in Mi City. If they really sent reinforcements, it would be very troublesome if there was trouble here. While they were discussing, Sea City's City Lord Su Wanhai was discussing with a group of people in a secret room in the City Lord's mansion. I have sent people to Mi City to ask for reinforcements. I think Lu Bai will definitely send people over. When the time comes, your people from Haiti country will coordinate with the people inside and attack the treasury of Mi City's governor's mansion in one fell swoop. Take all the gold there. The one who spoke was Sea City Governor Su Wanhai. No one would have thought that the big shot guarding the city would collude with the people from Haiti country to rob Mi City. Their plan was perfect. Once Mi City sent reinforcements, the number of soldiers in Mi City would definitely be reduced. At that time, the success rate of joining forces with the soldiers from Haiti country would be very high. The messenger from Haiti country cupped his hands and said, Lu Bai is very sneaky. Will he not send reinforcements? Ha ha ha, don't worry about that. The old man is old. He will definitely think that you will attack my place first, so he will definitely send reinforcements. The only variable is his son-in-law. Su Wanhai narrowed his eyes. He could not help but think of the information about Wang Zhong. According to the spy planted by Lu Bai's side, Su San was very smart. He managed the poor Mi City well. It was said that he even knew where there was water. Therefore, basically every house there had a well. Not only that, he also invented farming tools. Therefore, Mi City had been having good harvests for the past few years. He also opened up foreign trade, exporting rice and farming tools. It was said that he had invented a cloth dyeing house to produce cloth. Originally, Mi City relied on the imports of cloth from other cities. Now it was going to become an export. A small Mi City, no matter if it was the economy or the population, had already surpassed his Sea City. This made him very jealous. This was because the residents of Sea City said that life in Mi City was good. It was also easy to find work in Mi City. It was said that as long as one entered a place called a factory in Mi City, everyone would have work to do. After finishing their work, they would receive a monthly salary. The benefits were very good. Isn't the son-in-law of the Lu family called Su San? I heard that this guy is very powerful and invented a lot of strange things. Oh yes, he invented fried gold. It's delicious. The Haitian ambassador nodded and praised. What fried gold? Isn't it just fried bugs? I feel disgusted just by looking at it. Su Wanhai cursed in his heart. Haitian was indeed a small country. Even though junk food was delicious, if it was not for the fact that he wanted to cooperate with them, he would not have bothered with these people. Mayor Su, you are right. Seeing the displeasure on Su Wanhai's face, the ambassador quickly agreed and continued. Then let's prepare for the next few days. I will be staying at the same place. If Mayor Su has any orders, just send someone to call for me. Okay. The group of people chatted. At this time, a soldier came in to report. Su Wanhai came out of the secret room. The soldier reported, "Mi City's reinforcements have arrived." How many people came? 20. 20? Su Wanhai stared. Is this Lu Bai playing with me? What's the use of 20? Chapter 541. After his subordinate explained, Su Wanhai found out that Lu Bai had sent some weapons and equipment. As for manpower, Lu Bai explained that there have been too many refugees entering the city recently, and the security was extremely poor. He needed manpower to maintain order, so he couldn't spare any manpower. Su Wanhai had no choice. He couldn't go and borrow more people. If he did, it would be easy to be suspected. After all, he wanted to make a fortune by allying with the people of Haiti and weaken the power of Mi City. He didn't want people to know that he was a traitor. Forget it, equipment it is. But it seems that Lu Bai will ask for help from the imperial court. We have to act as soon as possible. Back in the secret room, Su Wanhai explained the situation. Mayor Su, when do you plan to act? You can rob any village in the next few days. When the time comes, I will release the news that you have robbed enough and left by boat. Then, Lu Bai will lower his guard, and we will catch him by surprise. Okay. While they were discussing, Wang Zhong was seizing the time to train the firearms team. His firearms team had a total of about 300 people. But Wang Zhong was confident that these 300 people were enough to fight against an infantry army of 5,000. Of course, the premise was that both sides were far enough apart. As for the firearms, he had done it himself. No one knew, not even Lu Bai. Because in Wang Zhong's opinion, this was the foundation of his life. If too much was known, wouldn't it be the same as revealing his trump card? He didn't care about it. But what if the imperial court was involved? Although the imperial court was in a precarious situation with external and internal troubles, a lean camel was still bigger than a horse. If the imperial court killed the chicken to scare the monkey, with their current strength, they were not strong enough. This small team was made up of the children that Wang Zhong had adopted over the years. When he took them in, they were in their teens. Now they were about 15 or 16 years old. Normally, they would be raised in the demi factory, and during their free time, they would be trained. At the same time, his rat army was also sent out to secretly monitor the refugees entering the city. When the refugees had rushed into the city, Wang Zhong hadn't thought much of it at first. But he was surprised to find that some of the refugees were tall and strong. They didn't look malnourished at all. This made him wonder if they were really refugees. Therefore, he arranged for the rat army to follow the refugees into the city and eavesdrop on their conversations. Sure enough, he found a lot of suspicious people. These people added up to more than 300 people. There are actually so many spies in the city. Their target is indeed here. Listening to the report of the 3 rats in front of him, Wang Zhong secretly thought that it was as expected. Especially when he heard a shocking piece of news. According to the conversation between the 2 spies, one of them was actually City Lord Su Wanhai's man. In other words, Su Wanhai had teamed up with the people from Haiti to attack Mi City. When the time came to rob the city's treasury, the 2 parties would split the money. Wow, this Su Wan sea urchin is so big. Wang Zhong coldly snorted. That night, he told Lu Bai the news. Su-san, this is a serious matter. How did you know? Lu Bai couldn't believe it. One must know that if this news were to spread, Su Wanhai's entire family would be executed. In C City, I have a tip-off, Wang Zhong said casually. Is the news accurate? Of course it is. Also, I received a tip-off that 300 spies have infiltrated the city recently. What? One of them is Su Wanhai's lieutenant. Currently, he is being closely monitored by my men, Wang Zhong said. At this moment, Lu Bai was rejoicing in his heart. On the other hand, he was terrified of Wang Zhong. As Wang Zhong threw out information that he knew, he felt that he couldn't see through Wang Zhong anymore. The other party had such tight information, but Wang Zhong knew everything. This wasn't something an ordinary person could do. For a moment he had mixed feelings. Fortunately, Su-san wasn't ambitious. Otherwise he would have to step down. He didn't believe that Lu Chang could stop Wang Zhong. In his heart, power was far more important than women. Lu Bai nodded. When are we going to catch them? Don't worry, they haven't received the news yet. I will wait for them to receive the news, and then take them down. When those people from Heidi come in, we will catch them like a turtle in a jar. Good idea. Lu Nyoching clapped his hands and was happy. He didn't feel that his position was threatened by Wang Zhong. Lu Bai glanced at his silly son and was speechless. The plan was quickly implemented. 3 days later, 2 spies came in and found the informants sent by Su Wanhai. The rats arranged by Wang Zhong soon heard that the soldiers of Heidi would attack here in 3 days. At that time, they would cooperate to burn, kill, and loot. When the garrison came to support, a 100-man team would rush to the treasury and rob everything inside. If it weren't for Wang Zhong, the plan could be said to be flawless. In the end, all the blame would be pushed to Heidi. Not long after the 2 spies came in, Wang Zhong didn't do anything to them. There were too many spies in the city now. If he did anything, he would definitely alert the enemy. When the news reached Su Wanhai, he would be in trouble if he didn't do anything. Therefore, Wang Zhong decided to wait until the enemy took action, and then take down the spies. At that time, Su Wanhai would definitely take action, and it would be too late for him to stop. The plan was quickly implemented. These days, the number of refugees outside the city suddenly increased. Wang Zhong knew that the people of Heidi had come. In addition to these people, Su Wanhai also placed his own men as support. In terms of numbers, they were indeed small. But Wang Zhong had taken the initiative and didn't worry about them at all. 3 days passed quickly. Because Heidi had taken them by surprise, they decided to attack from the east gate. The east gate had the densest flow of people, so they could get a good cover. Early in the morning, a caravan pulled a long carriage and entered the east gate. Everyone in this caravan looked very solemn, as they scanned their surroundings vigilantly. They were the soldiers of Heidi. This time, they were disguised as a caravan. They planned to kill the soldiers guarding the city first. After taking control of the entrance and exit, the people outside would rush in and burn, kill, and loot. When the soldiers of the governor's mansion in the city came to rescue them, the spies in the city would take the opportunity to attack and rob the treasury. They had thought about this plan many times. After calculating, they all agreed that the success rate of the plan was 100%. However, they didn't expect that the gate would suddenly close as soon as they arrived outside the city. Boom! The gate closed, and then countless soldiers on the city wall raised their bows and aimed at these people. Shoot! The soldiers didn't talk nonsense at all. They waved their hands and shot out arrows one after another. The poor vanguard didn't even have time to react before they were shot into a hornet's nest and fell to the ground one by one. The troops behind didn't know what happened at the front because they had discussed that after the front gate was taken, the vanguard would shoot a cloud-piercing arrow. Just as they were waiting, there was a boom from the city gate. It turned out that a piercing cloud arrow had been shot out. A cloud-piercing arrow. Thousands of soldiers and horses come to meet us. Brothers, the gate is taken. Kill. This group of people rode fast to the city gate. But when they arrived, they were stunned. There were corpses lying on the ground. All of them were their men. On the city gate, countless soldiers had already aimed at them with their bows and arrows. Go, go, go. On the left and right, many soldiers came and surrounded them. These people didn't even kill a single person, but they were already surrounded. Wang Zhong stood on the wall and looked at these people coldly. He didn't intend to leave anyone alive. Mercy to the enemy was cruelty to oneself. Kill! Wang Zhong shouted coldly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless arrows were shot out. Spare my life, spare my life. I surrender, I surrender. Although many people wanted to surrender, they were still shot into a hornet's nest in the end. In this battle, no one died. Wang Zhong didn't even use his trump card, the flintlock team, and these trusted troops of Heidi Kingdom, and Su Wanhai were already taken care of. Of course, there were still many spies in the city. However, it was a pity that Wang Zhong had already set his eyes on them. His rat army was countless. If one had to calculate the number of rats, it could be said that the total population of 10 American cities added together might not even be as many as the rats in one American city. This was the difference. Every rat was his source of information. With this information, no matter what he did, he would seize the initiative. In the next few days, a search for these spies began in the city. 3 days later, all the spies were captured. After interrogation, they confessed that Su Wanhai was a traitor and had colluded with the Haitian people. When the imperial court learned about this, they were furious and sent an army to suppress it. But when they arrived, Su Wanhai had already escaped with the gold and silver. He fled in the direction of Haiti Kingdom. He had no choice. He couldn't stay here anymore, so he could only escape to Haiti Kingdom. He was lucky. After all, he and Haiti Kingdom had a cooperative relationship. He was also very familiar with the situation in the country. He believed that he was useful to Haiti Kingdom. As long as he escaped to Haiti Kingdom, he could start over. As for his family, he could marry again in Haiti Kingdom. What did his family want him to do here? Go, go, go. At this moment, Su Wanhai was riding a horse and running away with a team of only about 20 people. This was his last team. In fact, this group of people didn't think of escaping, but they were also wanted. They didn't want to be caught with Su Wanhai, so they could only escape. Don't worry, everyone. We have so much gold and silver. I guarantee that everyone will still be rich when we go to Haiti Kingdom. Su Wanhai didn't forget to give his men a shot of chicken blood. Chapter 542. Unfortunately, the adrenaline rush was useless this time. Although the subordinates did not say anything, none of them dared to voice their anger. They were having a good time in Sea City, but they had to cooperate with Haiti to earn big money. Now they had to run away. Most importantly, their families were still in Sea City. It was conceivable that after this, their families would be miserable. And all of this was because of Su Wanhai. If it were not for him, they would not be so miserable. They were really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. When did Su Wanhai have it easy when these people were having a hard time? At this moment he was extremely regretful. He recalled a few times, but he really couldn't figure out which part of the plan went wrong. He had clearly calculated it very well, but he didn't expect that America would be able to catch them all in one fell swoop without any effort. Trash. It must be because the people from Haiti are all trash, Su Wanhai thought to himself. Just as they were passing through a road and were about to enter a forest, to their surprise, someone had been waiting at the entrance of the forest for a long time. Donkey, donkey, donkey. Su Wanhai called for the horses to stop and looked at the opposite side with an ugly expression. Because the opposite side was actually a group of about 50 soldiers. Although these people were in plain clothes, it was easy to tell that they were soldiers from their neat appearance. Su Wanhai, why haven't you surrendered yet? The one who shouted was Wang Zhong. He had arranged for Mouse to go to Su Wanhai's residence earlier. After knowing that he was going to escape, he brought people over. In order to stop them immediately, Wang Zhong chose to go light. Anyway, to him, they were using firearms and did not need to wear armor. Brother, I have a lot of gold and silver behind me. As long as you let me live, these are all yours. Su Wanhai could only beg for mercy at this moment. Su Wanhai, do you know who I am? You are. My name is Su San. Wang Zhong said indifferently. You colluded with Haiti and wanted to harm me city. Now you want me to let you go? Ha ha. Su Wanhai, do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid? Wang Zhong's words made Su Wanhai extremely angry. This was because according to his information, Su San was the one in charge of everything in Mi City. It was also because of Su San that his plan had failed. Su San, don't be complacent. Although you have more people, you only have 20 or so more than me. We are brave and skilled soldiers. What about you? Are they all dolls? You still want to fight me? At this time, Su Wanhai noticed that the person beside Wang Zhong had a young and tender face, and he suddenly became confident. In history, there were many cases where a team with fewer people won against a greater number of people. He felt that they were not at a disadvantage. This time, they would definitely be able to wipe out the other party. With Su Wanhai's reminder, the subordinates instantly came to a realization. That's right, the other party was like a bunch of dolls. And they still wanted to fight with them? He was simply overestimating himself. Wang Zhong shouted, "Everyone get ready." Upon hearing Wang Zhong's shout, everyone raised their muskets. These people were the boldest among his bodyguards, and this was their first real battle. Kill. Su Wanhai did not want to waste time. After all, there might be more pursuers behind. A group of people charged over on horseback. Wang Zhong's expression did not change, and he shouted, "Fire!" Bang, bang, bang. This was a one-sided massacre. Not to mention that there were only 20 people. Even if there were 3 times as many, they would still be able to teach them a lesson. This was just like how 1,000 musketeers could chase after a group of 10,000 people in modern times. In the afternoon, Wang Zhong returned with his men. When the news spread, everyone knew that Wang Zhong had finished off Su Wanhai. The military governor sent by the imperial court had also arrived. Tonight, Liu Bai held a grand welcoming dinner for the military governor. This military governor was called Li Min, although he did not have any actual power. As someone who reported directly to the emperor, many people had to give him face. Otherwise, Li Min could casually slander the emperor and cause headaches for his subordinates. Hence, no one dared to offend him. Military governor, this is the best wine from our winery in Mi City. You must drink a few more cups later. Liu Bai brought his son, Lu Nyoqing, and walked with Li Min chatting happily. Li Min nodded slightly and smiled. City Lord Liu is too polite. All right, where is our great hero Lord Susan? He just came back from capturing that bastard Su Wanhai. His clothes are extremely dirty and messy. He is changing his clothes and will be back soon. Good. This great hero is amazing. I will definitely put in a few good words for him when I return. Li Min smiled faintly. At this moment, a pretty girl caught his attention. This girl was following behind a fat middle-aged man. She looked gentle and quiet, which made people want to protect her. This girl is not bad. Li Min's eyes lit up. Lu Nyoqing said, "This is Moneybag Huang's daughter, Huang Daodu." Haha, is that so? She is so cute. They were all men. So Liu Bai knew what he was thinking. Li Min did not have a good reputation in the imperial court. This person liked to amass wealth, but he liked beautiful girls even more. It was rumored that he would hunt for beauties wherever he went, which made many people unhappy. However, no one dared to provoke him. It was very simple. He was able to reach his position not because of himself, but because of his adoptive father. Li Min's adoptive father was the imperial court's head eunuch Li Yian. The current emperor was old and many matters were handled by Li Yian. This resulted in Li Yian holding great power. Many ministers were angry, but did not dare to voice their displeasure. Li Min was originally just a small county magistrate. Once, Li Yian passed by Li Min's place. Li Min served him well, and was good with words. Hence, Li Yian took him in as his adoptive son. Just like that, Li Min entered the imperial court, and became a military governor. Liu Bai knew that Li Min had a powerful backer, and wanted to flatter him. However, no matter how much he wanted to flatter him, he would not send someone else's daughter to his bed. They were both people with daughters. Why would he do that? Hence, he immediately coughed and changed the topic. Lord Li, please come in. Okay. Li Min reluctantly looked away. After some thought, he smiled and said, "Since Lord Su-san is not here yet, there's no need to rush in. I'll go and have a chat with that beauty." Li Min was very confident. Ever since he became Li Yian's adoptive son, no matter where he went with the title of military governor, who would not bow to him? If he took a fancy to a beauty, even if those people were unwilling, wouldn't they still end up with the beauty in his arms? Of course, there were also those who did not know what was good for them. It was easy to imagine what would happen to these people. Once he returned, he only needed to say a few words to his adoptive father, and these people would know what was good for them. He believed that after he went over, Moneybags Huang would definitely present his daughter to him with both hands. Of course, he would definitely not marry, because his adoptive father had arranged a blind date for him with the daughter of a court minister. Although the girl was very ugly, her father was powerful. For his own future, he could only marry that girl. Hence, he could only play with her outside, and could not bring her back. Seeing Li Min walk towards Huang Daodu and Huang Shicheng's woman, Lu Bai felt helpless. He had long heard of Li Min's character. This time, it was really troublesome. Lordly, Moneybags Huang was flattered when he saw Li Min coming over. Moneybags Huang was called Huang Shicheng. He was one of the wealthiest moneybags in the city, and had a good relationship with Lu Bai. Usually, Lu Bai would invite Huang Shicheng whenever he did something. For Huang Shicheng, it was extremely good to be able to get to know a court official on such an occasion. However, Huang Shicheng would never have dreamed that Li Min had his eyes on his daughter. If he knew, he would probably be scared. Yes, you are Huang Shicheng, right? Li Min said lightly. This lowly one is. Huang Shicheng was a little excited. Li Min actually knew his name. It seemed that he was quite famous. Yes, let's have a few drinks later. I have some business that we can discuss together. Huang Shicheng was stunned. Li Min actually took the initiative to discuss business with him. This was a court official. He hurriedly said gratefully, "Thank you, Lord Li. It's no problem. Alright, this is." Li Min pointed at Huang Daodu and finally told the truth. "This is my daughter Huang Daodu." Huang Shicheng frowned. He originally brought his daughter here to get to know the noble young master. Although Li Min was a court official, he also had connections in the court. He had long heard that Li Min was talking about marriage with the daughter of a court official. How could he marry another woman? Moreover, Li Min's reputation was not good. No matter how much Huang Shicheng wanted his daughter to marry into a good family, he would not marry such a person. Therefore, he suddenly became vigilant. "Oh, it's your daughter. She's really beautiful," Li Min said with a smile. "Let's have a few drinks later." My daughter doesn't know how to drink." "Yes." Li Min raised his voice. "Then let's drink together, okay?" Yes, Lord." Huang Shicheng's heart was bitter. He was also a smart person. Li Min's so-called business was probably fake. The real thing was that he wanted his daughter. Although he knew this, as the saying goes, people do not fight with officials. He completely did not know what to do now. "Father, I haven't gone in yet." Coincidentally, his daughter Huang Xianxian came over. Li Min was stunned again. Damn, it's two sisters. They look so similar. The key is that both of them are so beautiful. Huang Shicheng saw Li Min's appearance, and his heart suddenly thumped. Sure enough, the next moment, Li Min smiled and said, "Let's have a few drinks later." As he said that, he patted Huang Shicheng's shoulder with a deep meaning. The meaning was self-evident. It was best to be sensible. Everyone entered the house. Huang Shicheng secretly went to Lu Bai and asked for help. "Hey, we'll try to get him drunk later. Then you can secretly take your two daughters away." Lu Bai shook his head helplessly. "It's not like you don't know Li Min's character. Why did you bring your two daughters out?" Huang Shicheng's face was bitter. "My two daughters must come. I didn't think of this at the moment." "You sigh." Lu Bai couldn't say anything now. Chapter 543. The banquet began. Originally, Lu Bai and Huang Shicheng planned to get Li Min drunk, so that he would not know anything. At that time, Li Min would not be able to blame Huang Shicheng. Even if he came the next day, Huang Shicheng had already thought about it. Early in the morning, he would arrange for his two daughters to live in the countryside for a while. A few days later, Li Min would naturally go back. At that time, everything would be fine and nothing would happen. However, what the two did not expect was that Li Min's alcohol tolerance was very good. Lu Nyocheng drank a few cups and was already drunk. However, the more Li Min drank, the more excited he became. How would they know that the reason why Li Min was able to curry favor with head eunuch Li Yian was because of his alcohol tolerance? At that time, in order to please Li Yian, Li Min drank all the guests on the table. Li Yian saw that Li Min had a good alcohol tolerance and a sweet mouth, so he took him in as his godson. I can't take it anymore." Lu Bai also could not drink anymore. Although he was old, his alcohol tolerance never fell behind any young people. He did not expect to meet his match today. Li Min faintly smiled. Only then did he stand up and look at the two sisters, Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian, who were behind Huang Shicheng. He had not forgotten tonight's main topic. Why don't you two come over and have a few drinks with us and chat with you? Sorry, I can't drink. I can't either. The two sisters frowned and looked at Li Min. Of course, they also want to find a big shot to be their husband. Otherwise, they would not want to marry Wang Zhong. This Li Min is indeed very good. However, everyone knows that this Li Min wants to marry the daughter of a high official. This Li Min will not marry them. Moreover, this Li Min's reputation outside is well known. No matter how low they are, they will not have any relationship with this kind of person. Li Min seemed to have already known their answer. He got up and walked over. Using the excuse of being drunk, he said, "Just chatting, not doing anything?" With that, Li Min sat next to them. One of his hands unceremoniously hugged Huang Shicheng's waist. Pa! Huang Daoda jumped in fright and swung a slap over. Everyone was stunned. Huang Shicheng actually slapped Li Min. Li Min covered his face with disbelief. "You dare to hit me? F***ck, do you know who my godfather is? He was the most popular person in front of the emperor, Li Yian. How dare you hit me?" Hearing the name Li Yian, many people who were not familiar with Li Min were also stunned. This person is actually Li Yian's adopted son. The Huang clan is in big trouble. It's over, it's over. Li Yian is extremely protective. With just a few words from Li Min, I'm afraid that the entire Huang clan will be in trouble. Huang Shicheng was also anxious at this moment. He hurriedly said, "Lord Li, calm down, calm down." Huang Shicheng, it's your fortune that I like your daughter. Why? Are you tired of living for your daughter to hit me? Li Min's eyes widened. Ever since he joined the head eunuch Li Yian, when had he ever been beaten like this? Even if he had been beaten up before, the people who had beaten him had already paid a cruel price. Huang Shicheng was so scared that he knelt on the ground. Although he had people in the imperial court, how could he fight against the head eunuch? Lord Li, my daughter doesn't know any better. Please calm down. How about this? I'll go back to my room to rest. Let them come to my room and we'll have a chat, Li Min said lightly. This can't be. In that case, Lord Lv Nyocheng. Hearing Li Min's shout, Lv Nyocheng came over with a bitter face. Lord Li, get your men to arrest Huang Shicheng. Lv Nyocheng subconsciously looked at his father. Liu Bai had already drunk too much and rested early. For a moment, Lv Nyocheng had no idea what to do. He could only look at the door hopefully, and secretly wonder why his brother-in-law hadn't come yet. He was born with no opinions. At this moment, he placed his hopes on Wang Zhong. Lord Lv, do you think my words are wrong? Li Min frowned. Under the influence of alcohol, he was much bolder and didn't care about the incredulous eyes of the people around him. This was the power of authority. He could imagine that after playing with the sisters, when he went out tomorrow morning, the people present would still welcome him with a smile. Thinking of this, Li Min sneered in his heart. They were just a bunch of cheap lives. This. Lv Nyocheng hesitated. He didn't know what to do. Lord Lv, I'm asking you a question. Li Min stared coldly at Lv Nyocheng. This Lv Nyocheng actually dared to not speak. He would definitely report him later. What are you all doing? Right at this moment, Wang Zhong walked in with Lv Shang and Su Xiaolan. He had made a great contribution this time. Wang Zhong was also very happy, so he specially brought Lv Shang and Su Xiaolan over. He didn't expect to hear some discordant things before he even entered. Lord Su, the Lv family's butler, hurried over and quietly told him what had happened. Li Min didn't stop him. He believed that if this Su-san was smart, he would definitely know what to do. He, Li Min, was someone no one here could afford to offend. Wang Zhong understood. Seeing Li Min like this, he sneered in his heart. He really treated this place as his own home. Lord Su, we're all waiting for you. Li Min walked over. After seeing Lv Shang and Su Xiaolan beside Wang Zhong, his eyes lit up again. He didn't expect there to be so many beauties in Mi City. Even he couldn't bear to leave. Unfortunately, no matter how bold he was, he wouldn't steal a high-ranking official's wife. Thus, his target was still Huang Daodu and her sister. Waiting for me? Lord Li, you seem to be in a good mood. Wang Zhong glanced over at Huang Daodu. These two sisters were indeed very beautiful. However, they were still virgins. Li Min actually wanted to treat them like this. Did he think the people of Mi City were easy to bully? Haha, Lord Su, we're all the same. You have such beautiful wives. Your mood is even better than mine. Wang Zhong's expression turned cold. This guy actually made a joke out of his wives. Come Lord Su, let's drink together. Li Min picked up the wine and walked over. Wang Zhong shook his head and said, those who know me well know that I don't drink. You have to give me face. My body isn't suitable for drinking. You're not giving me face? So what if I am? Killing intent surged in Wang Zhong's eyes. This Li Min really didn't know what was good for him. Li Min was stunned. What did you say? Don't you understand? Wang Zhong laughed. At this moment, the surroundings quietened down. They were all shocked that Wang Zhong actually dared to talk back. To Li Min, Li Min's expression turned cold. Although he was drunk, he was very sober. He knew that Wang Zhong didn't give him face. Good, very good. Lord Su-san, I hope that when I return, you can still be so unyielding. Li Min had already decided that when he returned, he would definitely complain about this Su-san in front of his godfather. The best would be to ruin Su-san's reputation, remove him from his position, and send him to prison. At that time, he might even capture his 2 wives. Ha ha ha, once he thought of this, the haze in Li Min's heart was swept away. In order to make Wang Zhong afraid, he couldn't help but come over and say, at that time, I hope that you can protect your 2 wives well, ha ha ha. Pa! Without any warning, Wang Zhong sent a slap flying over. Ah, you actually dared to hit me. Li Min covered his face in disbelief. When did I hit you? There's a fly on your face. I only saw it and slapped it. You. Li Min covered his face. Feeling the pain on his face, he was incomparably furious. Just you wait, I'll make you pay. Li Min turned around and left. Wang Zhong scanned the hall and said, everyone continue eating. Don't worry about him. Lord Su, you must be careful of this Li Min. Huang Shichong walked over with his 2 daughters with a bitter expression. Thank you, Lord Su, for saving us. Huang Daoda looked at Wang Zhong with sparkling eyes, full of admiration. Thank you, Lord Su. You're so powerful. No one else dares to provoke him. Only you dare. Huang Xianxian looked at Wang Zhong excitedly. Young girls all worshipped heroes. Wang Zhong could be considered to have saved the 2 sisters this time. To them, it was really a great kindness. You're welcome. Everyone eat. Wang Zhong only smiled. In his heart, he was already thinking of how to deal with this Li Min. After sitting down, Huang Xianxian and Huang Daodu took the initiative to serve tea. They even affectionately called Lu Shang and Su Xiaolan's sister. When the 2 sisters looked at Wang Zhong, their faces flushed red. One had to know that their father had already found a matchmaker to act as their matchmaker. The matchmaker was none other than 3rd young Master Su. Unfortunately, 3rd young Master Su didn't choose them. This made them extremely depressed. Originally, they had already walked out of this sad situation. However, when they saw Wang Zhong today, they felt that this was the one for them. After the 2 sisters left, Lu Shang pursed her lips and said, look at those 2. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets when they looked at you. Xiaolan, did you notice? Su Xiaolan also pursed her lips. Of course I noticed. Husband, don't tell me you're also interested in them? I saw you also staring at them. Wang Zhong knew that Su Xiaolan was purposely accusing him. He was speechless. What are you saying? When did I stare? Hee, I saw you staring. Su Xiaolan covered her mouth and giggled. She was secretly pleased that she had caught Wang Zhong in the act. Speaking of which, Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian aren't young anymore. Why haven't they gotten married yet? Su Xiaolan was curious. I heard from my father that their father, Huang Shichong, wants to find them a good family. However, the problem now is that there aren't any good families. Even if there are, those men aren't all that great. Lu Shang told her what she knew. After saying this, she sighed with emotion. Luckily, she had found 3rd young Master Su. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't have gotten married so early. Right now, she was probably also worrying about how to get married. So that's how it is. Su Xiaolan nodded slightly. While the 2 women were chatting, Wang Zhong's thoughts were on how to deal with this Li Min. According to what he knew, Although Li Min would only return a few days later, there was no guarantee that he would return early. He had to be killed in advance. However, this definitely couldn't be done in the city. After all, he was an imperial envoy of the imperial court. If he was killed in the city, both Liu Bai and him, the deputy city lord, would be responsible. It would be very troublesome if they blamed him. Chapter 544. Husband, is the temperature of the water suitable? Late at night, Wang Zhong bathed while Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang waited on Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong nodded his head and said, I told you to rest early. Just leave this small matter to the servants. Wang Zhong was speechless. His two wives were too considerate. They had to arrange everything clearly for him. They even said that the servants weren't careful, and that they would feel more at ease if they did it themselves. Husband, what about that Li Min? Lu Shang was a bit worried. Su Xiaolan was also worried. I heard that Li Min is head eunuch Li Yian's favorite adopted son. If he goes back and badmouths us, then we'll be in trouble. Don't worry, I'll take care of him, Wang Zhong said nonchalantly. Since husband said so, then there must be a way, Su Xiaolan said happily. Sigh. It's a pity that we two women can't help at all. Lu Shang felt a bit guilty. You two usually take care of the family business. You've already helped me a lot. But we're usually too busy. We only have 2 children now. How about we have a few more? Su Xiaolan suggested. Wang Zhong rolled his eyes. What's the point of having so many children? Sigh, rest early. Actually, I think, husband, you should take a concubine. Lu Shang's words shocked Wang Zhong so much that his jaw almost fell to the ground. He thought that Su Xiaolan would object, but to his surprise she said virtuously, as a good wife and mother, it's about time we take care of the concubine for husband. Cough, cough, cough. What are you two thinking about? I already have you two, so don't think about these things. Wang Zhong wasn't a pervert after all. What he wanted to do now was to solve the problem in front of him. How could he think about other things? However, the 2 girls didn't think so. As they chatted, they ignored Wang Zhong and went into the room to discuss. Xiaolan, which girl do you think is good? We should keep an eye on her. I think that Huang Daodu and her sister tonight are not bad. Their families are good too. Right, that's true. Fine, these 2 really weren't jealous at all. Wang Zhong looked up at the sky speechless. If he really married so many women, he would be able to play fight the landlord. How troublesome. The next day, Wang Zhong had just left the house when the servants hurried over. Li Min was preparing to leave with his men. That guy left so early. Looks like he can't wait to report me. Wang Zhong snorted coldly. He immediately called for the personal guards that he had raised in his mansion. Follow me. Wang Zhong rode his horse out of the city. However, when he arrived at the city gate, according to the guards, Li Min had already left with his men. What? So fast? Wang Zhong frowned. He had been too careless. This Li Min seemed to be brainless, but he was quite cunning. He knew that it wouldn't be good to stay here for too long, so he left early. Chase. Now that he had no choice, Wang Zhong could only chase after him. There was only one official road to the imperial capital, and the terrain was very easy to walk on. As long as Li Min and his group stopped to rest, he was confident that he would teach Li Min a lesson. The only thing he was worried about was that Li Min wouldn't stay here. That would be troublesome. Go, go, go. Wang Zhong ran with his men, but unfortunately, he didn't see any trace of Li Min. The group finally arrived at the relay station. One of the subordinates got off his horse and shouted to the boss of the relay station, "Have you seen a group of imperial court troops passing by here?" The boss of the relay station knew that Wang Zhong wasn't an ordinary person, so he quickly responded, "I haven't seen any pedestrians early in the morning, let alone the imperial court troops." What? You haven't seen them? Hearing this news, Wang Zhong became suspicious. Could it be that Li Min took a shortcut? If he was Li Min, he would definitely do so. However, Li Min wasn't him. With Li Min's intelligence, would he think of doing so? He felt that it was impossible. After all, Li Min's performance last night clearly showed that his intelligence wasn't that high. "Sir, there's a discovery." One of the subordinates rode over and cupped his hands. There's blood in a river behind us. Let's go and take a look. Wang Zhong rode back on his horse and came to the only river they had passed before. He walked too fast and didn't notice the blood. Now that he looked at it, there were a lot of blood on the ground and a few short swords under the river. There was a fight here just now. Wang Zhong touched the blood on the ground. It was still emitting heat. It seemed that they had left not long ago. Wang Zhong's nose twitched. He vaguely smelled Li Min's scent. Looking at the forest not far from the river, Wang Zhong shouted, "Follow me." Everyone rode into the forest. As soon as they entered, they saw the corpses of Li Min's subordinates. Li Min was kneeling on the ground and kowtowing. "Miss Huang, please spare me. I won't dare to do it again. I definitely won't take revenge. I definitely won't take revenge." Wang Zhong was stunned. What was going on? Huang Daodu actually brought a group of people to kidnap Li Min's group, and even killed them all. Only Li Min was left. Wang Zhong finally understood that Huang Daodu wasn't as simple as she looked. "Who is it?" Huang Daodu noticed that there were people coming over, and shouted vigilantly, "It's me." Wang Zhong rode over majestically. When he entered, he asked his subordinates to wait here. "Lord Su-san." Huang Daodu's eyes lit up. But after thinking about what she had done, she became nervous. Lord Su, save me." Seeing Wang Zhong, Li Min quickly rushed over and hugged Wang Zhong's leg. He cried, "Lord Su, as long as you save me, I will definitely say good things about you to my adoptive father. I will definitely let you be promoted. You should know my adoptive father. My adoptive father is the most popular person in the pilgrimage. If I die, you all won't have a good time. Lord Su, this Li Min deserves to die. We can't let him live." Huang Daodu walked over and reminded him. She was very conflicted. If Lord Su-san really saved him, what should she do? This time, in order to kill Li Min, she had already taken a great risk. If she had to deal with Lord Su-san, what should she do? Fortunately, in the next instant, Wang Zhong sent Li Min flying with a kick. Following which he said to Huang Daodu, "Don't worry. I came here to kill him. However, I didn't expect that you would beat me to it." Huang Daodu heaved a sigh of relief and gave her subordinates a look. Her subordinates understood and pulled Li Min over after dealing with him. "Can you tell me about it?" Seeing that Huang Daodu was done with her work, Wang Zhong pointed to the side of the river. Huang Daodu nodded and explained to Wang Zhong while walking. It turned out that Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian weren't stupid. They knew that after offending Li Min last night, they wouldn't have a good time. Therefore, they arranged for spies to wait at Li Min's place all night. At the same time, she and her sister each led 2 teams and waited on the main road and small road. This Li Min would definitely pass by a certain intersection. At that time, they would catch him in one fell swoop. Wang Zhong was very surprised. Before, when he came into contact with these 2 sisters, he thought that they were incomparably delicate and ordinary women. They just looked a little better. But now, he didn't expect that they were actually so shrewd. Moreover, looking at the way Huang Daodu held the long sword, it was obvious that she was also a martial artist. What do you plan to do after that? Wang Zhong actually had a plan in his heart, but he still wanted to hear Huang Daodu's opinion. It's very simple. Later, I will take away all the belongings on these people, and then send someone to report. Just say that Li Min's group was killed by the robbers. His adoptive father is so far away from here, so he won't be able to find anything. Huang Daodu said shrewdly. And not bad. I didn't expect you to be so smart. Being praised by Wang Zhong, Huang Daodu's heart was a little excited. But on the surface, she only smiled and asked, "Lord Su also came to deal with this Li Min?" Although I don't put this kind of villain in my eyes, letting the tiger return to the mountain is still very troublesome. But I didn't expect him to leave so early. Fortunately, you are here. Otherwise, I'm afraid it wouldn't be easy for me to catch up with them. Actually, it's nothing. Last night, fortunately Su Gongzi helped us 2 sisters out of trouble. Otherwise, I'm afraid we would be in trouble. Last night, Huang Daodu already had killing intent towards Li Min. But their Huang family's business is big. If they really killed Li Min in public, there would be a lot of trouble in the future. Then you take care of it. I'm leaving. Wang Zhong nodded towards Huang Daodu and left. So handsome. Looking at Wang Zhong's back, Huang Daodu sighed in her heart. In the past, perhaps she was just curious about Wang Zhong. But after last night's incident, Huang Daodu felt that Wang Zhong was very powerful. At the very least, so many people didn't dare to stand out. Only he dared. AI, it's a pity that he already has 2 wives, Huang Daodu sighed in her heart. Sister, I just saw Master Su, Huang Xianxian hurriedly said as she rode over on a horse. And I know. Huang Daodu walked over and explained the situation. Then she said, pack up. Let's leave this place. Li Min was dead. News of his death quickly spread to the palace. It was said that he was met with robbers on his way back. All of his belongings were robbed, and Li Min and his subordinates all died tragically. My adopted son, you died so tragically. Head eunuch Li Yian looked at Li Min's corpse and cried bitterly. But he was already dead, and he died in the hands of a group of robbers. There was nothing he could do. Then, he issued an order to send out troops to suppress the robbers. Regarding this, Liu Bai's side naturally cooperated. In the end, they killed a few murderers and completed the job. Li Min's matter was settled. What gave Wang Zhong a headache was that after Lu Shang and Su Xiaolan discussed it, they really did find a matchmaker for him. The matchmaker they found was actually Huang Shi's family. In their words, it was fortunate that Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian were the ones who made the first move and dealt with Li Min, otherwise they would really be in trouble. Thus, they felt that Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian were their family's lucky stars. If Wang Zhong married them, his luck would definitely be better. After hearing this news, Wang Zhong was stunned. Although he strongly opposed it, he was sternly rejected by Lu Shang and Su Xiaolan. Why are you doing this to me? Wang Zhong really didn't want this to happen. Husband, do you want to marry Huang Daodu or Huang Xianxian? At night, Lu Shang held up the portraits of Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian and asked. Chapter 545. Husband, do you want to marry Huang Daodu or Huang Xianxian? Lu Shang asked as she held the portraits of the two. After the matchmaker went to Huang Shicheng's house, Huang Shicheng was also very satisfied with Wang Zhong. Although he wanted his daughter to be the concubine, he didn't mind. After all, Wang Zhong was the deputy city lord, and Liu Bai was his father-in-law. His daughter was marrying into a higher social class. Thus, the matchmaker came back with the portraits of Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian and asked him who he wanted to marry. This Huang Daodu is quite mature, and Huang Xianxian is also quite cute. It's very difficult for me to choose, Su Xiaolan said. Lu Shang also expressed that she was dazzled by the portraits as a woman. Both of them looked at Wang Zhong. Can I not choose? Wang Zhong was speechless. No, the two women actually said at the same time. Su Xiaolan even said logically, if you don't choose, outsiders will say that we're not virtuous. That's right. As your wife, it's our responsibility to help you take concubines. Otherwise, outsiders will think that we're stopping you. Lu Shang also said sensibly. You too. Wang Zhong was speechless. He had been to so many ancient times. But why were women all like this? Sigh, it really made him feel helpless. Wang Zhong had no choice but to say. Then we'll ask them when the time comes. Whoever is willing to marry can be married. And you're right, husband. The next day, the matchmaker followed the instructions and went to the Huang family again. Miss Lu Shang and Miss Su Xiaolan are both very open-minded. They said that if either of you is willing to marry, you can. Huang Shicheng nodded with a chuckle and returned to the room to discuss with his two daughters. Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian looked at each other. Huang Daodu spoke first. I'm the older sister, so I'll marry first. This attitude was equivalent to saying that she was going to marry Su San. However, before Huang Shicheng could say anything, Huang Xianxian suddenly said, But I like Lord Su. I've only heard that Lord Su is smart. But that night, I felt that he was really capable. So many people are afraid of Li Min, but only he dared to hit Li Min Beauty's loved heroes. This was an eternal truth. Wang Zhong's actions that night had left a deep impression on the two sisters. These two sisters were also the type that dared to say and dared to take responsibility. So when they met someone they liked, they were very proactive. Huang Daoda frowned. She didn't expect that her younger sister would fight with her. Sister, if you don't like Lord Su, then let me marry him, okay? Huang Xianxian said in a daze. Lord Su is wise and mighty. You are my ideal man. But I like him too. Huang Daoda frowned. Usually, she would yield to her younger sister. But when it came to her marriage, she didn't want to yield. Ah, sister, you like Lord Su too. Huang Xianxian was stunned. Huang Shichong was also stumped. What should he do? Both of his daughters actually liked Su San. Wang Zhong was very busy these days. The rice and steel factories under him were getting busier and busier, so they needed to be expanded. However, the craftsmen here didn't know anything about manufacturing factories. Wang Zhong could only personally draw the blueprints and direct the construction. On the other hand, due to the high efficiency of the cloth factory, the cost was lower than ordinary small workshops. Therefore, the price was cheap and the quality was good. Therefore, many merchants from other provinces came to buy, and the business was booming. Due to the construction of several factories, more and more people lived around Mi City. In the end, Liu Bai gave the order to expand the city again. However, Liu Bai's order was overruled by Wang Zhong. The city walls were used to defend against cold weapons. Now that he had guns and cannons, there was no need to build useless city walls. His opinion was that Mi City was now the inner city, and factories could be built in the villages outside the city. This way, not only would the problem of excessive labor in the villages be solved, but they also wouldn't have to squeeze into Mi City. After all, it was troublesome to have too many people. For example, there would be too much garbage and not enough water. Liu Bai felt that Wang Zhong's suggestion was good. In addition, he was old, so he let Wang Zhong handle these matters. Of course, in order to let his son be trained, he let LV Nioqing learn from Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong also knew Liu Bai's thoughts, so he taught LV Nioqing with all his might. After all, he also wanted to be more relaxed. After returning home, Lu Shang and Su Xiaolan had just returned from outside, and they brought a piece of news. What? Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian are both going to marry me. Wang Zhong was on the verge of tears when he heard this news. Originally, Wang Zhong thought that it would be enough to just marry one for the sake of his two wives. But he didn't expect it to be like this. What should he do? No, what's the point of marrying so many? Wang Zhong immediately shook his head. Although Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian were both very beautiful and very sensible, and they were even comparable to Lu Shang and Su Xiaolan, he still felt that if this was the case, wouldn't he become a scumbag? I think it's okay. These two sisters said they don't want to be separated, so they want to marry together, Su Xiaolan said. That's right, they're also proficient in the 4 arts. Husband, listen to us on this matter. No. Wang Zhong still shook his head. All right, I know what you're actually thinking. Are you worried that Xiaolan and I will be angry? Actually, you don't have to worry. If we were angry, we wouldn't help you with these things, right? Yes, big sister Lu Shang is right. It's our responsibility to help husband find concubines. Su Xiaolan had a serious expression. Fine, looks like it's hard to explain. Looking at the serious expressions on their faces, Wang Zhong started to ponder. Speaking of which, marrying Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian wasn't impossible. The most important thing was that they would be of great help to him. This Huang family was involved in many industries, and had connections with many large merchant associations in other provinces. If he could rely on their connections, the products in his factory would be able to sell even better. He then shook his head helplessly. Fine. I really have to hand it to you guys. Then I'll marry them. Husband is so nice. Lu Shang and Su Xiaolan both smiled happily. A month later, Wang Zhong successfully married the two sisters, Huang Xianxian and Huang Daodu. This instantly attracted the jealousy of many men. It should be known that these two sisters were great beauties on par with Lu Shang at that time. People even affectionately gave the 3 of them a nickname, the 3 golden flowers of Mi City. Now all 3 flowers had been plucked by Wang Zhong. However, no one dared to say anything. Now that Wang Zhong's power radiated over this large area, opposing him was seeking death. After marrying the 2 sisters, Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian. Sure enough, they were of great help to Wang Zhong. Not only did they take the initiative to share the daily work of the two factories, they even gave Wang Zhong advice. In the short span of a year, they had become as knowledgeable as Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang. A year later, these two sisters also each gave birth to a son. What made Wang Zhong feel gratified was that although he was a rat spirit, he had given birth to children with humans, and the children he gave birth to were all humanoid. Wang Zhong understood that after he cultivated, his genes had also changed. Strictly speaking, he was a cultivator, but his strength was still very weak. Moreover, what made him feel helpless was that he couldn't teach his family. Even if he gave the spirit spring water to his family, it was useless. In the end, he guessed that it was probably only useful for animals. In the blink of an eye, Su Xiaolan was 28 years old. These years everyone lived very happily. Wang Zhong's family also became the wealthiest and most powerful family in this area. Lu Bai was already old and no longer had the ability to manage, so he handed over the power to his son Lu Niocheng. However, it was actually Wang Zhong who managed everything. Wang Zhong actually didn't care about the position of city lord. Originally, everyone thought that they would continue to live happily. However, unexpectedly the late emperor passed away. This country was called Wenlai country. The original emperor was already very old. When he was still alive, although the court was in a mess due to his eunuchs, at least on the surface, there were no problems. However, following the death of the emperor, two factions appeared in the court. The first faction was led by head eunuch Li Yian. These people wanted to support the crown prince. This was because Li Yian had watched the crown prince grow up and had a very good relationship with him. Furthermore, Li Yian was from the same hometown as the crown prince's mother. Li Yian's achievements were actually also due to the crown prince's mother. The other faction was led by the empress. The empress didn't have a son in her early years, but she finally had one. He was the youngest and was the emperor's youngest son. The empress's brothers were all important officials of the court. Moreover, she had been managing her own forces all these years, so she had a lot of power. These two factions could be said to be like fire and water. Now that the emperor had passed away, it looked like the two sides were going to completely fall out. Originally, no matter how fierce the battle in the court was, it had nothing to do with Wang Zhong, who was thousands of miles away. However, in these 2 or 3 days, these two factions each sent people to find Wang Zhong. The reason for looking for him was very simple. They hoped to get his support. Of course, these two factions didn't just find Wang Zhong. They also went to some other cities to seek the support of the city lords. In the end, these two factions were evenly matched. If they could get the support of other city lords, they could immediately break this balance. Wang Zhong had also been in the palace before, so he naturally knew the rules. Therefore, when facing the envoys, he was all polite, but he just didn't say that he supported them. At present, there were no signs of victory or defeat between these two factions. If he rashly said that he supported one side, it would be equivalent to offending the other side. This wasn't good. Although he wasn't afraid of it, it was very troublesome for such a big family to be placed here. Brother-in-law, this is a treasure sent by the crown prince. The crown prince is with head eunuch Li Yian. It's absolutely right for us to support him. LV Niocheng said solemnly. Well, he directly became the crown prince's lobbyist. The court probably already knew that on the surface, LV Niocheng was the city lord. But in reality, the person in charge was Wang Zhong. Niocheng, did you accept something from the crown prince's people? Wang Zhong stared at LV Niocheng and asked. For no reason, LV Niocheng wouldn't speak up for the crown prince and Li Yian. Panic flashed in LV Niocheng's eyes. I didn't accept anything. Niocheng, tell me honestly, did you accept it? LV Shang glared at him and asked hurriedly. Chapter 546. Sister, what are you talking about? Why would I accept things from others? I just feel that the crown prince and Li Yian have the upper hand. So I feel. When Lu Shang saw the flustered look in his disappointing younger brother's eyes, he immediately became angry. Don't lie to me. How could I not know your personality? You've never cared about the matters of the imperial court. Why are you suddenly concerned this time? LV Nyoching was rendered speechless. He stammered and couldn't say anything. Lu Nyoching, if you don't tell the truth, I will tell your father. Wang Zhong frowned. Don't. The main reason why Lu Nyoching was so timid was because of his father's strictness. Lu Bai's teaching method was strict. If he didn't listen, he would beat him. If he didn't learn, he would beat him. It was also because of this that Lu Nyoching was always timid in everything he did. When it came to Lu Shang, Lu Bai wasn't that strict. In his words, it was enough for his daughter to learn the 4 arts. She didn't need to be too outstanding. Since young, the person Lu Nyoching was most afraid of was his father, Lu Bai. When he heard his sister say that she was going to tell his father, he became anxious. Then why don't you tell the truth? Lu Shang said exasperatedly. Okay. Lu Nyoching had no choice but to tell the truth. Sure enough, Lu Nyoching received benefits from the crown prince. Just recently, someone had sent him a whole chest of gold and silver, as well as 2 women who had been trained by the palace to serve men. Lu Nyoching didn't care about the chest of gold and silver, but after seeing the 2 women, he became excited. So in a moment of confusion, he accepted these gifts. Hey you, what do you want me to say? Lu Shang was so angry that her face turned red when she heard her brother's words. What do you want me to say? This kind of thing isn't easy to choose a side, but you actually... Sister, brother-in-law. The crown prince is the first successor. Moreover, the most powerful great eunuch Li Yian is helping him. The crown prince will definitely win. If we help him in advance, we can also get benefits. Lu Nyoching was anxious and hurriedly explained. After explaining, Lu Nyoching was even a little pleased with himself. His thinking was indeed correct. Although it would be better to see which side was stronger if they chose their side later. If they chose their side early, as long as the crown prince's side won, they would be considered to have contributed greatly and would receive more benefits. In the past, he felt that his brother-in-law Su San was very powerful and capable. But on this matter, why was he so timid? When Wang Zhong heard this, he sneered. You're still thinking about greed at this time. That's right. When the late emperor was still alive, Li Yian was indeed very powerful and had dealt with many of his enemies. However, he also made many enemies. At this time the 2 factions are fighting. It seems that the 2 factions are evenly matched, but Li Yian's enemies will definitely take advantage of his weakness to take his life. Have you thought about this? Wang Zhong's words made LV Nyoching's heart turn cold. That's right. Everyone knew that Li Yian relied on the late emperor's favor back, then to unscrupulously plunder the people's wealth. Moreover, he attacked those who disagreed with him and killed many people. Many people hated him to the bone. Now that the late emperor had passed away, there was no one to protect him. Most of the power was concentrated on the empress. If Li Yian's enemies did not support the empress at this time, they might as well go home and farm. Brother-in-law, what should we do now? LV Nyoching, who had figured this out, was terrified. Don't worry. Fortunately, the mountains are high and the emperor is far away. They can't control this place for the time being, and can't order us around. However, Li Yian's side will definitely publicize that we are with them in order to show that there are many people supporting them. At that time, we will be enemies with the empress. Therefore, we have to take the things from the empress side. Take both sides. LV Nyoching was stunned. That's right. After taking it, we will directly publicize to the public to thank them for the gift and return it with the same standard. Husband's idea is really good. This way, we can clearly tell them that we won't help either side and won't take advantage of them. At that time, no matter who succeeds, it won't be easy for them to say anything. LV Shang suddenly figured this out and said in surprise. Yes, but we also have to be careful of the people in the imperial court who will make trouble for us. Therefore, the most important thing is to strengthen our own strength. Wang Zhong said lightly. It could be said that he now had the absolute capital to start a rebellion. He had guns and cannons in his hands and a lot of silver. Although he didn't have many soldiers, he had firearms in his hands. The number of troops was never a problem. It could be said that once he started a rebellion, there would be no pressure. But he didn't want to. Now that his family was living a good life, there was no need to fight for power and profit. It was better to spend more time with his family. After that, under Wang Zhong's arrangement, he received the gifts from the empress. After a day, Wang Zhong prepared a big gift in return. Both sides had their own informants and knew that Wang Zhong had returned gifts from both sides. After knowing this, they analyzed that Wang Zhong didn't want to take sides. In that case, they agreed that it was not good to force Wang Zhong to become an enemy. A month later, Li Yian was killed outside by an assassin. Although the assassin was caught, it was said that the assassin was a loyal descendant who had been murdered by Li Yian and was seeking revenge. With Li Yian's death, the crown prince had lost his right-hand man, and his power was greatly reduced. 10 days later, the crown prince was given poisoned wine by the empress and died suddenly. As for the crown prince's mother, she was also banished to the cold palace. In the end, it was said that she hanged herself. When the news spread to Mi City, LV Nyoching was so frightened that he couldn't sleep. Thinking back, if it wasn't for Wang Zhong, he would have received the crown prince's gifts and become his lackey. Now that the crown prince's power had collapsed, he definitely couldn't escape from the end. Fortunately, Wang Zhong ended this trouble for him. Just thinking about it made him afraid. Subconsciously, he hugged the two girls sent by the crown prince. "Don't be afraid. I will protect you in the future." Yes, thank you, Lord LV. The two girls said sweetly. LV Nyoching was overjoyed. From then on, he didn't care about the matters in the city and focused on hugging the girls. The happy days didn't last long. Unexpectedly, before the newly appointed emperor could gain a firm foothold, the border was harassed by neighboring countries and 2 cities were taken over in an instant. Therefore, the imperial court could only recruit soldiers to support them. Wang Zhong was too far away from the illness, and it didn't affect him for the time being. However, just in case, Wang Zhong started to expand the army. Now, he used Mi City as his base and recruited people from the surrounding cities to work here. In just a few years, Mi City became one of the top 3 cities in the country. Its development momentum was faintly surpassing the imperial capital. However, the imperial court didn't have time to care about Wang Zhong. They were trying their best to eliminate the threat at the border. 3 years later, the imperial court was still trying their best to resist the enemy country. However, in Mi City, LV Bai couldn't hold on anymore. Father. LV Shang and LV Nyoching knelt on the bed and cried bitterly. "I can't hold on anymore. Remember, Mi City is the root of our LV family. You must manage it well, especially you, Nyoching. Listen to your brother-in-law," LV Bai said with difficulty. After he finished speaking, he glanced at Wang Zhong who was beside him. "Father-in-law." Wang Zhong walked over. "Su-san." LV Bai looked at Wang Zhong with a complicated expression and murmured, "You've worked hard. You're too polite." Wang Zhong sighed. "Please take care of my son Nyoching. What did he do wrong? You must educate him well." LV Bai was a smart man. He knew that his son was useless. If he were to manage Mi City, there would be a big mess sooner or later. Now Wang Zhong was the king here. If LV Nyoching offended Wang Zhong, he would be courting death. Even if LV Shang was Wang Zhong's wife, in LV Bai's opinion, when comparing power and women, a normal person would choose power, right? "I know. Have a good rest." Wang Zhong nodded silently. At this moment he couldn't say anything. LV Bai got rid of his thoughts and slowly lowered his arm. LV Bai left. After LV Bai left, the current emperor personally came to mourn. Originally, with LV Bai's status he wasn't qualified. But who asked Mi City to be so powerful now? Moreover, the emperor came over because he had an important matter to discuss. After the funeral, Emperor Sun Ce found Wang Zhong to ask for financial support. After years of war, the treasury was empty. There was serious internal friction, and it wouldn't be able to last much longer. He had already removed 2 grand marshals from their positions. If this continued, he was worried that the people would be unstable. Once the people's hearts were unstable, he was afraid that he would continue to lose cities. Therefore, this time, He came hoping to ask for support from Wang Zhong. He knew that Mi City under Wang Zhong's leadership was very powerful now. Minister Su, when I became the emperor of a country, I originally wanted to help the country and the people, and let them live a good life. But I didn't expect to encounter such a problem the moment I took over. Minister Su, I know that you have a strong army under you. I hope that you can lend me a hand. As the emperor of a country, if he could speak so humbly to Wang Zhong, it meant that he didn't have the confidence. Okay. Wang Zhong didn't talk nonsense, and agreed to Sun Tzu's request. These days, Sun Tzu stayed in the governor's mansion. Wang Zhong secretly arranged rats to spy on him. Firstly, he wanted to see what Sun Tzu was planning. If Sun Tzu was on guard against him, then he could consider rebelling. After all, he had the qualifications. Secondly, he wanted to see if Sun Tzu was an incapable ruler or an ambitious person. If he was an incapable ruler, Wang Zhong didn't plan to keep him. Fortunately, under his observation, Sun Tzu was also an ambitious person. Although Sun Tzu was worried about him, he still hoped that they could get along harmoniously. After knowing Sun Tzu's character, Wang Zhong decided to help him. As a result, Wang Zhong donated a large sum of money to Sun Tzu and gave him a few ideas. The neighboring country came over to fight. The journey was long and the consumption must be huge. Therefore, under the situation where the opponent's momentum was strong, it was not suitable to fight head-on. After being reminded by Wang Zhong, Sun Tzu exclaimed that this was a good idea. Wang Zhong was actually speechless. They didn't think of such a simple idea. It seemed that the previous grand marshals were really not good. Chapter 547. My dear Minister Su's idea is really wonderful. Why didn't I think of cutting off their provisions? Sun Tzu patted his thigh and excitedly paced back and forth. Wang Zhong lightly said, in addition, I have a few suggestions. My dear Minister Su, please speak. Although Sun Tzu is the emperor, he doesn't put on airs. This is also the reason why Wang Zhong thinks that Sun Tzu is a good person. A person who doesn't put on airs doesn't mean that he really doesn't put on airs. But he knows that having airs doesn't mean that people will be afraid of him. Wang Zhong began to propose. At present, because of the continuous defeats on the battlefield, the morale of the army is low. The solution is very simple. Sun Tzu personally leads the army. This will not only improve the morale of the army, but also show that Sun Tzu is wise and powerful. Once the morale is raised, they need to continue to recruit soldiers. But the imperial treasury is empty. Even if Wang Zhong provides support, it is still not enough. So this is the time to slaughter the fat sheep. Most of the high-ranking officials in the imperial court have countless treasures. It is time to ask them to donate money. If there is someone who is not pleasing to the eye, or who is corrupt, find some excuse to arrest them and confiscate their property. After listening to Wang Zhong's suggestion, Sun Tzu was a little worried. My dear Minister Su, is this a good idea? What if someone wants to rebel? Those people are corrupt, so they will be punished. There is nothing to say about this. Besides, you have to be fast before you act. You are now the commander-in-chief of the army. How can they rebel against you? Wang Zhong's suggestion made Sun Tzu's heart uneasy. After that, Wang Zhong proposed a compulsory soldier system. Every adult male must serve for 2 years at the age of 18. This way, the soldiers don't have to spend a lot of money. After listening to Wang Zhong's suggestion, Sun Tzu suddenly became a lot more optimistic. My dear Minister Su, your idea is very useful. It is a pity that you are not in the imperial capital. I can't discuss it with you often, Sun Tzu said regretfully. If your majesty is free, you can come and play with me. Wang Zhong smiled indifferently. Okay. On this day, the two of them chatted until late at night, and Sun Tzu benefited a lot. After returning, Sun Tzu announced that he will personally lead the army. On the other hand, he and his mother, the empress, joined hands with several big clans and dealt with several corrupt officials. After copying these people, Sun Tzu himself was shocked. He would never have thought that the wealth of these few families would be equivalent to 2 years of the entire royal family's income. Mother, these are really fat lambs as big as the sky. After tidying up the family wealth, Sun Tzu excitedly went to find his mother. Son, you are now the emperor. How can you lose your composure like this? Sun Tzu's mother is called Shen Wanjun. Although she is quite old, she still maintained her appearance very well. I'm talking about imperial mother. I've lost my composure. Sun Tzu felt a chill in his heart. He remembered that he was the emperor of a country. So many people were looking at him. He must not make a fool of himself. After that, he explained in detail the wealth he had obtained after plundering several clans. Shen Wanjun was also surprised when she knew that the wealth of these people was equivalent to 2 years of their income. I knew they were so rich, but I didn't expect them to be so rich. This plundering was indeed the right thing to do. Son, your idea is very good. Imperial mother, actually this idea was not from me. Sun Tzu quickly told his mother about Wang Zhong's idea. After listening, Shen Wanjun frowned. This Su San is actually so powerful. Yes, Mi City used to be a small city, with a population of only a few 100,000. Now with the surrounding areas, it has exceeded 1 million. Sun Tzu sighed because other than the imperial capital, Mi City paid the most taxes. This Su San is somewhat troublesome, Shen Wanjun said. Imperial mother, why do you say so? Su San is not weaker than us except for his military strength. I'm worried that if he rebels, it will be difficult for us to deal with him. Shen Wanjun was indeed a strong woman. She understood the key points. He won't, Imperial mother. Sun Tzu shook his head. This time when I went to ask for support, Su San supported me without hesitation. He also gave me advice. Imperial mother, Su San will never rebel. This time he helped you. He has indeed shown his loyalty, but you still have to be careful. Imperial mother, isn't my sister going to be 12 years old soon? If you are really worried, you can marry my sister to Su San. We will be in-laws with him. We will be considered as family. That's good. But isn't 12 years old too young? Yes, but she will grow up in a few years. All right. Shen Wanjun also felt that sooner or later a girl will marry. Although she is young, if she marries Su San, at least they will be in-laws. At that time, with Su San's support, their imperial family will have a more stable footing. A few days after the confirmation, Sun Tzu personally led the army. The war went smoothly. Sun Tzu adopted the strategy of defending to the death. On one hand, he defended to the death. On the other hand, he sent out 5 groups of people to attack the enemy's grain storage. Sun Tzu calculated that these 5 groups of people did not need to succeed. They only need to harass the enemy's 100,000 soldiers. After all, there are so many people. They need a lot of grain. Without these things, how can they feed? 15 days later, sure enough, the enemy received the news that their grain was burned. For a time, the entire army was in panic. Damn Sun Tzu. He is actually so insidious. He doesn't dare to face the enemy head-on. He actually used these despicable means. After learning the news, the enemy's commander was so angry that he cursed. If Wang Zhong was here, he will be laughed to death. As a commander, he doesn't even understand that there is nothing too deceitful in war. When leading the army to war, as long as you can win, who cares if you are scheming or not? Saying such words, it shows that the people of this era are too naive. Now that their grain was cut off, after thinking about it, the 100,000 soldiers can only withdraw. As they withdrew, Sun Tzu suddenly sent troops to chase them. This is called pursuing a victory. Generally at this time, the enemy's morale is low, and they are anxious to go home. At this time, the enemy will definitely be killed. In this war, the enemy left behind 30,000 soldiers to escape. Sun Tzu won. After continuously recovering the lost cities, it was already a year later, and Sun Tzu could be said to have laid the foundation for his throne. Now, no one in the imperial court dares to disobey him. After returning to the imperial court, Sun Tzu held a celebration banquet. The first person he invited was Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong naturally went. What made him speechless is that when he met with Sun Tzu also brought an 11 or 12 years old girl. This little girl looks strange. She is very good looking. Her pink face is chubby, but her body is not fat at all. The only drawback is that the girl's face is proud and a bit naughty. When she saw Wang Zhong, she stared at Wang Zhong, as if she was looking at an enemy. Wang Zhong can't help but touch his nose. I don't think I have provoked her. Why does she seem to treat me as an enemy? However, Wang Zhong did not say anything. After a few polite words with Sun Su introduced her. Su Qing, this is my younger sister Sun Daji. Hearing this name, Wang Zhong was speechless. If her surname is changed, she will be a 1,000-year fox demon. Sun Daji, you go play for a while. I will talk to Su Qing. Got it, imperial brother. Sun Daji ran out. Su Qing, what do you think of my sister? After she left, Sun Su asked. Very cute. Well, although my sister is young, she is proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, painting, reading and writing. Compared to ordinary girls, she is much more powerful. Your Majesty, you said this is. Although Wang Zhong guessed the reason, he was still somewhat shocked. Su Qing, this time I can defeat the enemy thanks to you. Unfortunately, I have nothing good to reward you, so I have decided to marry my sister to you. What? In fact, he already guessed it, but when he heard it from Sun Su, he was still shocked. He actually wants to marry Sun Daji to him, but she is still a child. Your Majesty, you can't do this. Miss Sun Daji is still a child, she is not suitable. Hey Su Qing, don't be embarrassed. As the saying goes, a fair and graceful woman is a good match for a gentleman. You like her, don't think I don't know. I think you like her, right? Wang Zhong was very helpless. He continued to shake his head and said, this subject already has 4 wives and concubines. I really don't have the heart to find another one. Do you think my sister is not good-looking or something? Sun Su frowned. No, it's just. Since it's not, isn't it normal for a man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines? There is no need to say more. Su Qing, this is for your own good. In the future, our 2 families will be even closer. Wang Zhong understood Sun Su's intention in his heart. But when he thought of Sun Daji's childlike appearance, he really can't do it. Seeing Wang Zhong was still hesitating, Sun Su sighed. Su Qing, you don't have to worry too much. Although my sister is still young, she will be fine in a few years. When you go back this time, take her with you. After a while, we will attend your wedding. Well, this Sun Su is still talking to himself. After that, Sun Su called Sun Daji and asked her to talk to Wang Zhong, and then he went out. You are Su Qing. You are younger than I thought. Sun Daji stared at Wang Zhong and said with some shame. Wang Zhong was a little helpless. Facing thousands of soldiers and horses, he did not change his expression. But facing the child in front of him, he really had the impulse to kick her away. My imperial brother said to let me marry you. Do you know? Wang Zhong nodded silently. I know you are very happy. But if possible, please refuse my imperial brother's request. Sun Daji lowered her head and said weakly. Why? Wang Zhong originally thought that Sun Daji would be very happy to marry him. It seems that he was too confident. Because we don't know each other. Moreover, you are so much older than me. I am still a child. Sun Daji's face was filled with anger. If it was not for my imperial brother, I would definitely not agree. Actually, I refused. But His Majesty must marry you to me. Wang Zhong spread his hands, indicating that he could not refuse. Chapter 548. You refused? Am I not pretty? Hearing that Wang Zhong had actually rejected her, Sun Daji became unhappy again. Didn't you say that you don't want to marry? I don't want to marry, but I also want to share my brother's burden. As expected of a child, her words contradict each other. Wang Zhong was not in the mood to say anything else and said, in short, if you don't want to marry, I will plead for you. When the time comes, you don't have to marry. Forget it. Sun Daji's face darkened and sighed. I accept my fate. For my brother, of course I will marry you. Don't worry, I will try to like you. But you have to promise me one condition. Tell me about it. Wang Zhong suddenly realized that this little girl was quite interesting, so he asked. I am still young and have not grown up yet. Can you wait for me to grow up, and then let me have a child? This girl is thinking too much. Wang Zhong could only reply, "Then you can stay at my place for a while. Think about it carefully." N. Sun Daji nodded and felt helpless. Although this Lord Su-san seems to be easy to talk to, I heard that he already has 4 wives at home. My God, he is so young and already married 4. He must be a demon. With so many wives at home, my life will be difficult in the future. Fortunately, I am a princess. I think he will give me some face, right? Sun Daji thought uneasily. During the banquet that night, Sun Su announced that Wang Zhong would marry Sun Daji. Congratulations, Lord Su. To be able to marry the princess, you will bring honor to your ancestors. Congratulations, Lord Su. When the time comes to drink the wedding wine, don't forget me. Don't forget me. I will definitely prepare a congratulatory gift for you. The court officials said politely. These people understood that the current Wang Zhong was not only the favorite of the emperor, but his power was also overwhelming. Didn't you see that even the emperor wanted to flatter him now? Moreover, the Mi city led by Su-san was now one of the best in terms of economy, military and trade. Most importantly, how old is Su-san now? He should be around 30 years old. To have such ability at such a young age, his future was limitless. Sirs, you're too polite, too polite. In the face of countless flattery, what could Wang Zhong say? He could only exchange a few pleasantries. After returning to their seats, Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang continued to size Sun Daji up. Both of them were speechless. Such a young girl. She was only 12 years old, right? She was actually going to get married, and to their husband at that. Husband, are you really not going to let such a young child go? Lu Shang couldn't help but ask. Wang Zhong's face darkened. What do you mean by not letting go? Big sister Xiaochang, stop teasing husband. I'm sure husband didn't have a choice. Su Xiaolan said. Xiaolan knows me best. Wang Zhong couldn't help but sigh. I don't have a choice. However, it's still your lucky day, Su Xiaolan said. Wang Zhong. What else could he explain now? It was really hard to explain. At this moment Su Daji walked over timidly. She held a teacup in her hand, and walked respectfully in front of Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang. Daji offers tea in place of wine to the two of you. Seeing how timid she was, Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang both felt that this child was really young. They could tell that Sun Daji had come at the behest of her mother. Although she was a princess, she was really quite pitiful because she was going to get married at such a young age. Little girl. Su Xiaolan smiled and drank a little wine. Lu Shang also drank a little. She patted the stool beside her and said, Sit, princess. Thank you. The two of you are really pretty. Sun Daji's mouth was very sweet, and she directly started to flatter. Little girl, you're also very cute. After Lu Shang finished speaking, she glanced sideways at Wang Zhong and said softly, This child is so young. Don't think of having any bad ideas so early. Wang Zhong was almost speechless. He was really being implicated even when he was lying down. What are you talking about? Do you think I have that kind of fetish? Can you help me? In any case, I'm just reminding you, Lu Shang said proudly. Wang Zhong shook his head in resignation. Fortunately, Lu Shang, Su Xiaolan, and Sun Daji got along quite well. Everyone's personalities were the kind that would give in to each other. And they were also well educated and reasonable. Thus they all got along well. 3 days later, Wang Zhong brought Sun Daji home. Once they arrived home, Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian hurriedly came out to welcome them. Husband is back. Hello, Sister Xiaolan. Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian were very polite. This was what concubines should do. Husband, you still have 2 concubines. Seeing how beautiful Huang Daodu and Huang Xianxian were, Sun Daji frowned. She felt that the competition was very intense. What husband? Call me Lord. Wang Zhong reminded Sun Daji. He didn't want to be stared at strangely by others. After all, Sun Daji was too young. But were husband and wife. Sun Daji seemed to have already accepted her fate. She lowered her head and said, Actually, you don't have to be embarrassed. Wang Zhong was already speechless. He could only call for the servants to move Sun Daji's things into the house. The following days were quite peaceful. After Sun Daji moved in, she was doted on by the whole family, because of her cute personality. With this child, The atmosphere in the house became much happier. In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed. Now Sun Daji was already 15 years old. She developed very quickly, and at such a young age, she was already about the same height as Su Xiaolan. This was the benefit of eating well since young. It was also during this year that what made Wang Zhong speechless was that Huang Daodu and Su Xiaolan, Lu Shang, and Huang Daodu slept alone because they were sometimes tired. Sun Daji squeezed over from time to time, wanting to sleep together. Daji, you're still young. You can't sleep with me, understand? Wang Zhong said earnestly. But we're already married. Sun Daji had already calculated. She wasn't young anymore. She could be together. Wang Zhong had no choice but to find an excuse to sleep in another room. Is it because my husband doesn't like me? That night, Sun Daji squeezed beside Su Xiaolan and Lu Shang, crying and complaining. Maybe my husband thinks you're still young. Why don't you wait a little longer? Su Xiaolan didn't know how to persuade her, so she could only say this. That's right. Let's wait a little longer, Lu Shang also said. All right then. Sun Daji felt that this was the only way. Now, she even felt that she wasn't charming enough. Another year passed. Wang Zhong suddenly realized that Su Xiaolan, Lu Shang, and even Huang Daodu would all say that they were tired at night and go to bed early. This made him very speechless. He had a feeling that they were purposely avoiding him. And every time this happened, Sun Daji would come over. Wang Zhong understood. They wanted him to marry Sun Daji. Forget it. Look at how pitiful this child is. Sigh. Wang Zhong had no choice but to sleep with Sun Daji. In the end, it was still Wang Zhong who shouldered everything by himself. A year later, Sun Daji gave birth to a chubby daughter. When the daughter's 1-month-old celebration was held, even the Emperor Sun Suo came to celebrate. Now Mi City was very prosperous. The country was also very powerful, and the people lived and worked in peace. Wang Zhong also didn't plan to do any more business development. He was actually not someone with much ambition. Now that his life was already very good, there was no need to tire himself out too much. Now he often took his wives out for sightseeing, strolling here and playing there. Originally, Wang Zhong thought that their family would be able to live together until they were old. However, he didn't expect that Huang Xianxian would fall sick. Although Huang Xianxian and Huang Daoda looked very similar, they were weak and sickly since they were young. Even though she often practiced martial arts, her body was still weak. This winter, Huang Xianxian fell sick in bed and had a high fever that didn't subside. Husband. Huang Xianxian held Wang Zhong's hand tightly. I feel terrible. I feel like I'm going to die. Wang Zhong's heart ached. It wasn't that he hadn't checked Huang Xianxian, but her body was still like this. The medicine was completely useless. In other words, Huang Xianxian might have been infected by some kind of virus. Fortunately, this virus wasn't contagious. Otherwise, they would have all fallen sick. Xianxian, hang in there. Daji has already gone to the palace to find the imperial doctor. Do you know the imperial doctor? They're very good. They're even better than the doctors here. They can definitely cure your illness. Huang Daoda knelt by the bed and cried. The two sisters had been very close since they were young. Seeing her sister in such pain, Huang Daoda felt like a knife was being twisted in her heart. She wanted to take her sister's place and dote on her. Sister, you're the best. As Huang Xianxian spoke, a mouthful of blood gushed out from her mouth. She couldn't hold on any longer. Daughter, my good daughter. At this moment, Huang Shichong rushed in from outside the house. There were 3 doctors behind him. They were all hired by him at a high price. Father. Huang Xianxian opened her eyes tiredly. Father-in-law. Wang Zhong stepped aside to let Huang Shichong and the doctors pass. These are famous doctors from other provinces. Take a look at their illnesses. As Huang Shichong spoke, the 3 doctors had already come to examine them. However, at this moment, Huang Xianxian spat out another mouthful of blood. Mother, mother, don't die, don't die. Huang Xianxian's child rushed over and cried non-stop. Child. Husband, father, sister, sister Xiaochang. Huang Xianxian looked at them one by one. Don't be sad. I'm very happy. I'm really. Before she could finish, Huang Xianxian's arm fell to her side. Her eyes were already unfocused. Huang Xianxian was gone. This gentle and cute woman who never threw a tantrum was gone. Only her young son was left behind. Xianxian, my good daughter. Huang Shichong cried bitterly. Sister. Although Huang Daodu was strong, she was also crying at this moment. Xianxian, rest in peace. Wang Zhong slowly closed Huang Xianxian's eyes. He sighed inwardly. He naturally knew Huang Xianxian's love for him. He was also very sad about Huang Xianxian's death. 7 days later, Huang Xianxian was buried beside Su Xiaolan's house. Husband, my sister is dead. Huang Daodu cried on Wang Zhong's shoulder. Sister, I'm your sister. Sun Daji comforted her sensibly. Chapter 549. Huang Xianxian's death was a huge blow to Huang Daodu. After all, she was her twin sister. Now that she was gone, Huang Daodu lost a few kilograms in the following days. In order to help Huang Daodu walk out of her depression, Wang Zhong often took her and his wives on trips to help Huang Daodu relax. A year later, Huang Daodu finally felt better. Husband, I've thought about it. Although my sister has left, she didn't want me to be unhappy. I want to live happily in the future. Late at night, Huang Daodu spoke to Wang Zhong gently. It's good that you know. Wang Zhong nodded in satisfaction. Huang Daodu finally returned to her previous lively self. Then Huang Daodu sat on him. The next year, Huang Daodu gave birth to another child. Wang Zhong was now in his 30s. He was very happy and held a big banquet. As the years passed, what surprised outsiders was that Wang Zhong's wives were getting older and older. However, Wang Zhong still seemed to maintain his youthful appearance. Wang Zhong knew that he was a demon. His lifespan was much longer than before, so he aged slowly. It's really troublesome if this continues. Wang Zhong had no choice but to use makeup to make his skin appear older. However, his wives still found out about his makeup. Xiaolan, our husband has always been so young. Yeah, our husband must be in good health. That's why he's like this. In the bedroom, Lu Shang and the others were chatting with Su Xiaolan. Su Xiaolan knew Wang Zhong's true identity. Hearing her sister's words, she sighed internally and could only nod to express her surprise. Late at night, Su Xiaolan and Wang Zhong chatted about Lu Shang and Huang Daodu's curiosity. I'm a demon. My lifespan is long, so I age slowly, Wang Zhong explained. So that's the case. Su Xiaolan was happy for Wang Zhong, but she was also worried. Why are you unhappy? Wang Zhong asked. Husband, I'm thinking, when we grow old, you'll be all alone. How boring will that be? Haha, so that's what you're worried about. Wang Zhong was impressed by Su Xiaolan's meticulous nature. I think I'll leave this place when the time comes, right? Leave here? That's right. If I'm still here when the time comes, won't people point at me and call me an old monster? So leave this place. Husband. Su Xiaolan snuggled up against Wang Zhong and suddenly felt a little sad. No matter how good their lives were now, no matter how happy they were, it couldn't withstand the invasion of time. Once the time was up, they would be nothing more than a cup of yellow soil. Don't think too much. The most important thing now is to enjoy the moment. What do you think? Wang Zhong said. Well, you're right. What's important now is the present. In the blink of an eye, Su Xiaolan was 50 years old. Perhaps it was because she had done too much farm work when she was young, but Su Xiaolan's health was deteriorating day by day. As for Wang Zhong, he could no longer hide his youth. In order not to be seen by others, he could only reduce the time he went out. He handed over the matters in Mi City to his children. Husband, Sister Xiaolan can't eat anymore. On this day, Sun Daji ran over and said. His other wives were already in their 50s. However, because Sun Daji was young to begin with, she was only about 35 years old now. This was the age when she was more attractive. Why can't she eat? Wang Zhong closed his book and asked curiously. She said she can't eat anymore. Sun Daji was very worried. Her older sister's health hadn't been very good recently. A while ago, Huang Daodu couldn't walk and had been sitting. For this reason, Wang Zhong even invented a wheelchair for her to push around. Lu Shang was a little hunchbacked and couldn't straighten her back. It was very distressing to see her like this. Now that something like this happened to Su Xiaolan, Sun Daji couldn't help but wipe away her tears. I'll go take a look. Wang Zhong walked towards Su Xiaolan's room. Once he entered, he saw Su Xiaolan vomiting. Xiaolan! Wang Zhong hurriedly walked over. The maids serving Su Xiaolan all lowered their heads and hurriedly said, Master, I don't know what's wrong with Madam. She vomits every time she eats. How long has it been? Wang Zhong frowned. Su Xiaolan's face was so pale. It definitely didn't happen in the past 1 or 2 days. It's been a few days. Bastard, why didn't you tell me it's been a few days? Wang Zhong was furious. Master, Madam Xiaolan said not to tell you. We didn't want to either. You. Wang Zhong was about to fly into a rage again when Su Xiaolan said weakly, Husband, don't blame them. Xiaolan, how are you? I don't want you to worry too much. I'm fine. Su Xiaolan smiled and said to the maids, You can leave first. Yes. The 2 maids walked out. Only Wang Zhong and Su Xiaolan were left in the room. Su Xiaolan said weakly, Husband, I've heard a lot of people say recently that you look very young. I'm worried that they'll discover something. Don't worry. With my power, they won't dare to say anything. I know you're very powerful, but gossip is a fearful thing. So I'm thinking of something. What is it? Wang Zhong was puzzled. If we die, you don't have to stay here anymore. Su Xiaolan suddenly said. What? Xiaolan, what do you mean? Wang Zhong was shocked. Su Xiaolan actually had the intention to kill herself. I'm getting old. It's time to go. Xiaolan, don't talk nonsense. Wang Zhong held Su Xiaolan in his arms. Su Xiaolan's little hands were already full of wrinkles. Do you still remember when I first saw you when we were young? There were a lot of rats in the house back then. You also stole food, right? I wanted to chase you away back then. But who would have thought that you'd give me money? That's right. I stole those from other places, said Wang Zhong. Back then, I liked to put you in my collar. After we grew up, I felt embarrassed every time I saw you. Wang Zhong couldn't help but laugh. That's right. Little rat, thank you. Xiaolan. If it weren't for you, I probably would have starved to death with my mother. Really, thank you so much. Su Xiaolan's voice became softer and softer. With a smile on her face, she fell into a deep sleep. Wang Zhong knew that Su Xiaolan had passed away. He couldn't help but see the scene when they were young. Su Xiaolan went to fetch water, wash clothes, and cook by herself. In order to take care of her younger brother, she saved a mouthful of food for him. This was a strong girl. It was also on this day that she reached the end of her life. 7 days later, Su Xiaolan was buried next to her mother, Zhou Chui's tombstone. Their family was finally complete. Huang Daodu was very sad. She was already paralyzed. Seeing Su Xiaolan die, she was even sadder. Late at night, she chatted with Lu Shang and Sun Daji. The 2 of them were very envious of Sun Daji for being so young. Back then, I also killed Li Min, who bullied me and my sister. That's how I met my husband. At that time, my swordsmanship was very powerful. Now I can't even walk. Huang Daodu sighed. Me too. I can't even straighten my back now. Lu Shang was very bitter. He looked at Sun Daji enviously and said, Sister Daji, Daodu and I might have to leave first. Please take care of my husband in the future. Sun Daji massaged Lu Shang, and her eyes gradually reddened. What are you talking about? You'll definitely live a long life. You definitely will. Lu Shang only smiled. The 3 of them went to rest. Wang Zhong stood at the door and listened to the women's whispers. He quietly left. A year later, when Huang Daodu was sitting in a wheelchair and being pushed by a maid to admire the scenery, Huang Daodu was already dead. Just like that, she left without a sound. Daodu is gone. Standing in front of Huang Daodu's tombstone, Lu Shang cried bitterly. Wang Zhong blamed himself. He blamed himself for not accompanying Huang Daodu during her last days. Now that she was gone, it was too late to say anything. Suddenly, Lu Shang's head tilted and she fell to the ground. Sister Xiaochang, what happened to you? Sun Daji hurriedly helped Lu Shang up. Oh no. Wang Zhong frowned. Lu Shang seemed to have been stimulated because she was too sad. 3 days later, Lu Shang slowly woke up. But after waking up, she couldn't remember anything. She only remembered some things from when she was young. It must be a cerebral hemorrhage. After taking Lu Shang's pulse, Wang Zhong guessed. Husband, what is a cerebral hemorrhage? Sun Daji couldn't help but ask. It's a kind of illness. Wang Zhong sighed and couldn't help but stroke Lu Shang's wrinkled face. At this moment, Lu Shang suddenly woke up. She slapped Wang Zhong's hand away. Who are you? How dare you bully me? I'm going to tell my father. Because of the cerebral hemorrhage, Lu Shang's memory had deteriorated greatly. She even forgot about him. Sister, calm down. Sun Daji comforted Lu Shang. Lu Shang was old now. She didn't feel at ease running around outside. You know me? Lu Shang looked at Sun Daji strangely. Yes, have you forgotten me? It's me, Daji, your sister. Daji, sister, I forgot. I remember that my father is the city lord. His name is Lu Bai. I also have a younger brother. Lu Shang shook her head and kept trying to recall. Wang Zhong decided to go out first and let Lu Shang calm down. Daji, take care of her for a while. I'll go out. Got it. Sun Daji was no longer an insensible girl like before. She nodded and didn't deliberately let Lu Shang recall the past. Instead, she chatted about daily life. Just like that, Lu Shang's condition was very unstable and intermittent. She often wanted to go out and see how the inn was doing. She often said that she had a husband, but she didn't know who he was. Sometimes, she said that she wanted to see her children. Unfortunately, she couldn't recognize the two children standing in front of Lu Shang. Little Shang, this is grilled fish. Do you remember? It was Lu Shang's birthday at noon. Wang Zhong always remembered. In the past, Wang Zhong would personally cook a pot of grilled fish at this time every year. Lu Shang said that it was the grilled fish that made them know each other. Therefore, grilled fish was her favorite dish. This is grilled fish. I love grilled fish the most. Thank you, Su-san. At this moment, Lu Shang seemed to remember Wang Zhong. The WeChat public account Sword Without Clouds was going to serialize the previously banned novels for free. What do you think? Chapter 550. Sun Daji carefully picked out the fish bones and placed the meat in Lu Chang's bowl. Sister Xiaochang, eat. Yes. Thank you, Sister Daji. Lu Chang smiled gently. As she ate, tears welled up in her eyes. Father. At that moment, Lu Chang's memories returned. She recalled that Lu Bai had already died, and that she was already 60 years old. Husband. Lu Chang looked at Wang Zhong, as if she wanted to say something, but she couldn't. Xiaochang, rest for a while. Wang Zhong patted Lu Chang's shoulder. I'm tired. Lu Chang returned to the bed and recalled the smell of grilled fish in the house. She recalled the first time she met Wang Zhong. There had been a misunderstanding between them. For a period of time, Lu Chang even expressed that she didn't want to talk to Wang Zhong. However, in the end, they still ended up together. Although she was nervous, she was very happy in the end. I'm going to sleep first. Lu Chang was very quiet and did not make a fuss. She did not wake up again. Sister Xiaochang, Sun Daji sobbed. Sigh. Only Wang Zhong's long sigh could be heard in the house. At that moment, he suddenly felt that Changsha was not that happy. His lover had left, and only Sun Daji was left. After a few decades, Sun Daji was the only one left. How lonely would that be? Daji, let's leave this place. After settling Lu Chang's funeral, Wang Zhong stood in front of Lu Chang's tombstone and said, Where are we going? Sun Daji was puzzled. To the ends of the world. Let's take a look together. Sun Daji nodded slightly. After thinking for a while, she asked, Husband, actually, there's something I've been wanting to ask you. You want to ask me why I've always been so young, right? Outsiders might have seen Wang Zhong's makeup and thought that Wang Zhong was very old. However, as Wang Zhong's wives, they knew that Wang Zhong was not an ordinary person. Sun Daji had long been curious. However, Su Xiaolan had said that her husband was not an ordinary person, and that there were some questions that did not need to be asked. Seeing as Su Xiaolan had already said this, Sun Daji and the others naturally didn't probe any further. Now that Wang Zhong's wife had left, and she was the only one left, Sun Daji could not help but ask. Wang Zhong didn't plan on hiding anything. After all, they were going to live together in the future. If he still hid it from Sun Daji, wouldn't it make Sun Daji disappointed and mean that he didn't trust her? Actually, I'm a demon. I've lived with Su Xiaolan since I was young, and she's the only one who knows my true identity. After that, Wang Zhong briefly explained. So you are a rat demon. Sun Daji was very surprised, but she did not show any fear. The two of them had lived together for so long that they couldn't be any more familiar with each other. Even if Wang Zhong told Sun Daji that he had killed many people in the past and was a murderer, Sun Daji probably wouldn't be afraid of Wang Zhong. After that, the two of them packed up their luggage and bade farewell to their children, saying that they were going to go sightseeing. Although their children kept urging them to stay, worried that something would happen to Wang Zhong and Sun Daji at such an old age, Wang Zhong had already made up his mind. Children, your mother and I may not come back in the future after this trip. Remember, don't be greedy. Don't overdo it. Don't go overboard so that we can meet again in the future. As your father, I have nothing to teach you now. Your future lives are all up to you. Goodbye. Wang Zhong was quite assured about his children's future lives. His children had been taught very well by him, benefiting from his many lifetimes of parenting experience. Sitting in the carriage, Wang Zhong and Sun Daji left Rice City. Along the way, the two of them experienced the local customs of each city and also entered dangerous wilderness areas. Fortunately, Wang Zhong's demonic arts were profound and could easily solve all kinds of problems. Just like that, the two of them helped each other and 25 years passed in the blink of an eye. In front of Dahai, Wang Zhong supported Sun Daji, who was walking shakily. Looking at the endless Dahai, Sun Daji took a deep breath and said happily, "Old man, is this the Dahai?" "Yes, the Dahai of dark blue. I've only heard of it before, but this is the first time I've seen it. Husband, why are you so familiar with the Dahai?" Sun Daji sighed. "I feel that you know everything. After all, I'm a demon," Wang Zhong said. "Yes, I want to live here in the future," Sun Daji said. "Then let's live here in the future. There's a forest in front. I'll go chop some wood and build a house. How about that?" Yes. This way, we can see the Dahai every day." Sun Daji was very happy. She was already very old and could not walk. Then, Wang Zhong went to a nearby town to buy a sickle and a machete. He skillfully built a thatched hut. Sun Daji lit up the grill that Wang Zhong had built and barbecued. The grilled fish and meat were all bought by Wang Zhong in town. Sun Daji did not know how to grill when she was young, but after traveling for so many years, she had already mastered it. "Old man, rest for a while and eat something. I'm done grilling." Sun Daji seemed to choke on the smoke and coughed violently. Wang Zhong hurriedly went over and patted her back. "Daji, sit down and rest. You're so old. Be careful." "I'm still young." Sun Daji did not seem to want to admit that she was very old. All right. You're still young." Wang Zhong smiled speechlessly and ate the grilled fish. "Not bad. Your skills have improved again. Sigh, if I can't eat your grilled fish in the future, what should I do?" Sun Daji smiled. "That's why you have to learn. You're still young. If possible, find a few more wives." Wang Zhong shook his head. "Forget it." "Why? If you don't like it, why did you find so many wives back then?" Sun Daji asked curiously. "Isn't it because you guys chased me? I can't do anything about it if I don't accept it." Wang Zhong said speechlessly. You're still pretending to be obedient after taking advantage of me." Sun Daji snorted coldly. "All right, old woman. We're already an old couple. Why are you still throwing a tantrum like a child?" "I'm not throwing a tantrum. I'm serious. I'm already so old. I'm afraid I don't have many years left. Old man, find someone as good as me to take care of you in the future." After saying that, Sun Daji couldn't help but fall into deep thought. She slowly said, "I know that you haven't married all these years to accompany me. Actually, I understand. Although I'm old, I actually understand." "Sigh, old woman. It's not that I don't want to marry, but I don't want anyone to leave my side anymore. Do you know? With you guys, I'm enough." Wang Zhong hugged Sun Daji in his arms. To outsiders, this scene might be very strange because Sun Daji looked very old, but Wang Zhong was so young. This scene was very uncoordinated. But Wang Zhong and Sun Daji snuggled together naturally and ate together. 3 days later, Wang Zhong finished building their little nest. Unfortunately, the happy days didn't last long. Sun Daji's health suddenly deteriorated and became worse day by day. I miss home. On this day, Wang Zhong wanted to leave with Sun Daji, but Sun Daji suddenly said that. Then let's go back, Wang Zhong said. I want to see Sister Xiaolan, Sister Xiaochang, Sister Daodu, Sister Xianxian, and the others. Okay, then let's go back. Wang Zhong went to town to buy a carriage. After all, Sun Daji was so old that she couldn't take it without a carriage. Wang Zhong drove the carriage while Sun Daji sat in the carriage and headed toward America. The journey was too long. It had been more than a month, but they were still quite a distance away from America. Meanwhile, Sun Daji's health had deteriorated rapidly. She couldn't even eat. Old man, how much further? Sun Daji asked. We're almost there, almost there. Wang Zhong rushed through the night. He knew that Sun Daji was very weak. In order to fulfill her last wish, he had to hurry to the place where Su Xiaolan and the others were buried. Yes, old man, I might not be able to hold on. Remember, if I die, bury me with Sister Xiaolan and the others. They took care of me the most. I'm really happy to be with them. I know. Wang Zhong gritted his teeth, and the carriage sped up. 3 days later, Wang Zhong finally arrived at Su Xiaolan's old residence. Now, Wang Zhong's descendants had transformed this place into an ancestral hall. It belonged to the Su family. When the Su family had something to do, they would come here to pay respects to their ancestors. This was because in the eyes of these descendants, Wang Zhong and Sun Daji had long died outside after so many years. Naturally, Wang Zhong and Sun Daji's plaques were placed in the ancestral hall. This place was guarded by an old couple. Wang Zhong didn't rashly disturb them. Instead, he went to the place where Su Xiaolan and the others were buried. Old woman, we're here. Wang Zhong could feel that Sun Daji still had a trace of life. What supported this trace of life was Sun Daji's last wish. She wanted to see her sisters one last time. He helped Sun Daji down the carriage. Sun Daji's withered legs stood on the ground. Like a 1-year-old child learning how to walk, she hobbled to the front of a few tombstones. The tombstones had clearly been repaired by the descendants. Although they weren't as good as new, at least they had an extraordinary aura. Sisters, I'm here. Sun Daji kowtowed hard. Daji, do you want to see our children? Wang Zhong asked. Forget it. If we go back at this time, we'll scare them. Sun Daji also saw her and Wang Zhong's plaques in the ancestral hall. She knew that her children must have thought that they had died outside. Moreover, from the ancestral hall, it could be seen that her and Wang Zhong's descendants were living very well. There was no need to disturb them. Sisters, I saw Dahai. It's a pity that when my husband and I left back then, we should have brought your plaques with us. It's all my fault. I didn't think of that and didn't bring you to see him. But it's okay. I'll come down to accompany you right away and tell you what Dahai looks like. As Sun Daji spoke, her body seemed to have turned into water, and she was about to fall to the ground. Wang Zhong hurriedly supported Sun Daji. Old woman, I'm so tired. I'll rest for a while. The wish that supported Sun Daji to come here had been fulfilled. At this moment, she had no more worries and slowly closed her eyes. Chapter 551. Sun Daji also left. Thinking back to the first time he saw Sun Daji's playful appearance, Wang Zhong couldn't help but smile bitterly. Although he was still alive, he was like a walking corpse. Old lady, rest in peace. Wang Zhong caressed Sun Daji's face. Scenes of their youth seemed to flash before his eyes. At night, it started to drizzle. Wang Zhong returned to the carriage, took the shovel from the carriage, and began to dig. After he was done, he buried Sun Daji and erected a tombstone. The tomb of his beloved wife Sun Daji. Su Xiaolan Lu Shang, Huang Daodu, Huang Xianxian Sun Daji rest in peace. That night, Wang Zhong stayed here for a night. The next day Wang Zhong left. First, he stayed in Mi City for a while. He was quite curious about how his children were doing. After asking around, he was very gratified. As the city lord, his eldest son empathized with the people and was an upright official. He was loved and respected by the people. The remaining children managed the factories, and the business was thriving. After so many years, the scale had expanded. The only regret was that his and Su Xiaolan's son, Huang Daoda's daughter, one died of illness, and the other died from an accident in the factory. Sigh, this is all fate. Wang Zhong was very regretful, but there was nothing he could do. His children and grandchildren had their own blessings. In the future, his children would have to deal with their own matters. 3 days later, Wang Zhong left the city and returned to Su Xiaolan's old home. He came to the spirit spring. Because no one lived in Su Xiaolan's house, no one paid attention to the spring water here. After taking some spring water, Wang Zhong's demonic aura surged out and rushed into the spring water. Now his demonic techniques were very powerful. He didn't need spring water to absorb energy from the demonic core in his body. However, he still didn't know where the spring water came from. Under the investigation of his demonic aura, he quickly discovered that there seemed to be a soft object under the spring water. Taisui fungus. Wang Zhong recognized it. Strictly speaking, he had never seen it with his own eyes, but he had seen it on TV before. So he could tell at a glance that it was the Taisui fungus. This Taisui obviously had a spirit, so when the underground water passed by it, the water also had spirit. He could imagine that in the future, this Taisui would definitely become a spirit, then a demon, and finally a spirit. In the future, it would be able to walk in the human world. However, the problem was that this Taisui might not necessarily have a good personality. Be it demons or humans, there were good and bad. In order to prevent this accident, Wang Zhong made a hand seal, and a trace of demonic aura touched the Taisui. I hope you'll work hard as a demon in the future. That's the only way you'll be able to acquire a boundless great Tao. That's the way to cultivate demonic arts. Wang Zhong's voice echoed around Taisui. With this demonic art, Taisui would become a great demon sooner or later. However, it was also because of this demonic art that Taisui was restricted from doing evil. This could be considered the last good deed he did here. After he was done, Wang Zhong left. This Taisui fungus was of no use to him, so he didn't need to take it. 200 years later, the current Mi City was like a huge industrial city. It was rich in steel, cloth, plastic, and all kinds of agricultural products. All kinds of raw materials from overseas, such as ores and coal, were continuously imported from Si City, which was beside Mi City. This year, the new mayor of Mi City, Su Feixiang, took over as the new mayor. On the first day of his succession, he was brought into a secret room. In the secret room, there were portraits of 5 women and 1 man. Feixiang, this is the old ancestor Su San. The old man pointed at Wang Zhong's portrait and continued. Do you believe that the old ancestor is still alive? Father, is that really the case? Of course. My grandfather said that back then, everyone thought that the old ancestor had passed away. However, later on, they found the tombstone of our great-grandmother, Sun Daji, beside the tombstone. This was buried by the old ancestor. The old ancestor was actually an immortal. Immortals can naturally live for a long time. This time, I called you here to tell you the secret that every mayor of Mi City should know. This is called a gun, this is called a cannon. The people outside don't know about this. With these, no one can attack our Mi City. After saying a lot, Su Feixiang became more and more surprised. I didn't expect the old ancestor to be so powerful back then to have invented so many things. After coming out of the secret room, a woman came to welcome him. Husband. Yes, my wife. Let's go to the ancestral hall to pay our respects to the old ancestor. Okay. The group came to the ancestral hall of the Su family. The woman looked at the plaque of Wang Zhong in the ancestral hall and sighed in her heart. Master, you gave me the opportunity 200 years ago to cultivate into a human. Otherwise, I would have been a sticky thing. In order to repay your kindness, you married your grandson. You will definitely bring prosperity to the people here. As she missed him, The woman followed Su Feixiang and kowtowed. Of course, Wang Zhong didn't know about all of this. 200 years flew by. Wang Zhong had already become an old man. He didn't care about the affairs of the world in the forest. On this day, after Su Feixiang and the others left, Wang Zhong slowly appeared. His powerful cultivation allowed Wang Zhong to sense the figure of the Tai Sui next to Su Feixiang. I didn't expect the Tai Sui to become like this. But from the looks of it, she doesn't have any ill intentions. Wang Zhong shook his head. He bent his back and came to a few tombstones. He didn't say anything and slowly revealed his true form. This was a mouse. Wang Zhong dug a hole for himself and hid in it. Gradually he went silent. Mission character. Mouse Su San mission objective. Help Su Xiaolan live a good life. Completed. Lifespan. 266 years. Partner 5. They are both kind and virtuous. It's a pity that they left before you. Offspring 9. You taught them well when they were young. They will walk their own path in the future. Achievement evaluation. You have become a legend among your descendants. In the eyes of ordinary people, you are a person of virtue and prestige. Reward received. 23,432 experience points. When he woke up in the morning, Wang Zhong heaved an internal sigh. Another lifetime had passed, and he was feeling a little melancholic. But perhaps this is life. In order to prevent himself from thinking too much, Wang Zhong prepared to go to the mansion to see how the renovations were going. However, as soon as he walked out, he saw Shen Shuangshuang dressed to the nines. She turned around and saw Wang Zhong. Big brother Wang. Shuangshuang, what's the occasion today? You're dressed so nicely. Shen Shuangshuang was elated to be praised by Wang Zhong. It's my birthday today. Wang Zhong was stunned. It's your birthday? Yes. Shen Shuangshuang looked at Wang Zhong with longing in her eyes. Big brother Wang, how about you come with me? I've invited some of my friends. Shen Shuangshuang was quite a nice person, so he was naturally going to give her some face on her birthday. All right then. Have you booked a hotel? I'll book a 5-star hotel for you. No need, no need. Shen Shuangshuang quickly waved her hand. Her heart was beating very fast. This was because she had booked an ordinary restaurant, but Wang Zhong had booked a 5-star hotel. She knew that Wang Zhong was very rich, but she felt that even if he was rich, he shouldn't spend it like this. What's wrong? You don't have to be embarrassed, Wang Zhong said. It's not that. It's just too expensive. All right then. I'll prepare other gifts later. When are we going? Let's go in the afternoon. All right then. I'll go to the mansion first. After leaving the house, Wang Zhong took a taxi to the car market. Now that he had cleared his identity and taken revenge, he had money in his hands. An ordinary person would definitely want to enjoy himself. Coincidentally, Wang Zhong's thoughts were the same as the average person's. If he had money, it would be useless if he didn't spend it. Sir, what kind of car do you need? In a 4S store, Sun Su was originally dozing off listlessly. In her sleep, she lamented the unfairness of fate. This was because her performance this month was very poor. Her father was seriously ill, and her mother fell in bed. Her family was in urgent need of money. However, because of her performance, she was always facing the risk of being fired. Wang Zhong was originally looking at the car. When he heard the voice, he frowned. This voice was somewhat familiar. He turned around. As expected, he was stunned. Xiao, the person in front of him. Wasn't she Sun Su, the wife that he had married as a son-in-law? Sir. Sun Su looked at her name tag and touched her face. She was speechless. Wasn't it just because she was good-looking? Did he have to have such a big reaction? Sir, my name is Xiao, but this is my nickname. You can call me Xiao Sun or Miss Sunday, Sun Su patiently explained. Although she felt that Wang Zhong in front of her was not very reliable. What if this guy gave her a big order? Miss Sunday in a trance, Wang Zhong reacted. This was not a game but reality. However, the Sun Su in front of him was exactly the same as in reality. What exactly is going on? Sir, you're looking at the car alone? Sun Su asked. Yes, let me take a look. Wang Zhong nodded. Sun Su was a little disappointed, because according to her experience, anyone who said they would take a look was basically not sincere to buy a car. Looking at Wang Zhong's young face, there were very few people who could afford a car at this age. Therefore, she concluded that Wang Zhong did not have any tricks up his sleeves. However, due to her professionalism, she still politely received Wang Zhong. "Sir, what kind of car do you like? Is it a comfortable car or an off-road car?" Wang Zhong came to the off-road car in the middle of the exhibition hall. This car was obviously a new model priced at 5.3 million. "What do you think of this car?" Sun Susu introduced the car with some doubts. However, halfway through the introduction, Wang Zhong waved his hand and said, "You don't have to introduce those features. I don't know much. Just tell me if you like this car." Sun Susu said that this was the first time she had seen such a strange customer after more than a year of selling cars. "I like it, of course I like it." After Sun Susu finished speaking, she complained in her heart, "Who doesn't like such a good car? But what's the use of liking it? I can't afford it." Wang Zhong nodded. "It's good that you like it. Buy this car. Pay up." Being rich was just that domineering, arrogant, and boring. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.